All right, this update is brought to you by Indeed.com. We'll start in college football. The big news of the day, Washington head coach Kalen DeBoer will be the next head coach at Alabama coming off his national championship game appearance in the college football playoff versus Michigan. Aztecs take on New Mexico tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. tip-off at New Mexico at the Pit. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And we have NFL games this weekend as it's NFL Super Wild Card Weekend. You can listen to the Cowboys take on the Packers here on Sunday afternoon, followed by the Rams taking on the Lions on San Diego Sports 760. Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high. You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and help hire candidates, all from one place. And Indeed interview tools lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one of Jon and Jim. It is Bachelorette weekend. I'm told that Erin, is she en route or is she in Arizona?
Oh, no, she's there.
She is there.
I took her.
Has the chef arrived?
Yeah. No, not yet.
Okay.
I took her to the airport this morning at 7:30 a.m.
Okay.
That's why I was texting you very early.
Yeah,
like,
it made no sense. You like some tweet at like 7 in the morning. I'm like, something's going on.
What is happening right now?
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
That makes sense, though.
I know.
So you took her to the airport. How many, serious question, how many of her girlfriends are there? How many people is this? This got to be large. Girls typically, they have all these friends.
7?
Only 7. That's not that big.
6 or 7?
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me like 20.
No.
I really did think you were going to say that.
No, there could be 20, but there's only like 7. I think.
So 7.
7 plus her. So there's 8 total.
So Friday, is this because we have MLK weekend? Is it the extra day? She come back Monday? She come back Sunday?
She's coming back Monday afternoon.
Monday afternoon.
Late afternoon. I don't think she had the day off originally, but she took it off because she's going on her bachelorette party.
Has she? I know Erin has definitely checked in with you because she's not great with travel. So
she's not great with travel.
No, right? Isn't she like, she's got questions? Like she gets to the airport, she's like, how do I get through like security?
No, she's good with travel.
She's good with travel.
And
but she's definitely checked in with you.
Yes, she definitely has called me, yes.
Right.
Yeah. Because she was sitting at the airport waiting for everybody to come in. So she was alone. So she called me and she was telling me what they were going to do. And I haven't heard back since, and I haven't seen any Instagram stories or anything.
You're cool with it. You're not asking questions. It's cool. Dude, it's fine. It's Bachelorette. I'm with you. Yeah, you're good with it.
This weekend, it could not have happened at a better time for her bachelorette party.
Why do you say that?
It's NFL Super Wild Card Weekend.
True.
Number one.
Have you bought Peacock?
I already have it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. And it's not even
That's
my
from
account.
An ex.
Exactly. All I'm doing this weekend is eating sushi and watching football and watching the Aztecs. And it's going to be a fantastic weekend.
All right, so you're going to wait. You'll be up for 11 a.m. San Diego State tomorrow against New Mexico, and then that rolls kind of into football.
It's literally perfect. San Diego State versus New Mexico in the morning, followed by 2 football games
in freezing weather,
and then doing absolutely nothing at home, followed by the next day football all day long, and then we're off on Monday. So I mean, it could not be a better weekend for me personally. Even though most people, or not most people, but some people, when their fiancés go for their bachelorette party, it might be a little like, what's going on?
No, I mean, what do you really do? I mean, it's like what's fair is fair. You'll have a bachelor party. She's got a bachelorette party. This is this happens. Everyone goes through it, right? Basically, anyone that gets married goes through this. So it's good, right? I mean, they're gonna have. What did Brent say yesterday? They're gonna play cards.
Yeah, they're gonna play cards with a couple
cards.
guys and
a couple guys.
Yeah, strip poker.
Right. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, very fun.
Today on the show, Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network. Speaking of Jim watching football for 3 straight days, Cynthia Freeland will get us ready. What impact is this weather going to have on the games on Saturday? Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, will join us at 5:30. We'll tell you about our giveaway in the 4 o'clock hour we have for you. Remember, we started the show yesterday talking about Ken Rosenthal's, I think it is fair to say, it was a bit of a bizarre article. Beware of signing young players to long-term deals that could turn out to be Wander Franco. I'm oversimplifying it. And then he tied Fernando Tatis Jr. into that, and he caught all this flack. And how do I know he caught all this flack? Because he's responded to what he wrote.
Pretty much apologized for it.
It was a really, and we're going to hear it. Yeah. And we could play it in its entirety. But again, he wrote an article about Wander Franco. Hey, buyer beware, young players, they can end up like Wander Franco. And oh, by the way, Tatis has been suspended for PED use as well. Well, anyway, it didn't necessarily go over the way he had intended for it to go over. Maybe that's putting it lightly. Here was the reaction. What was this on, Jim? What does he have? Foul Territory? Is it a podcast? What is it?
Everybody apparently goes on the Foul Territory YouTube stream and
we don't
podcast.
Where's our invite?
I don't know. Maybe we should call him up, ask him for an invite.
Okay. Well, anyway, he was on the Foul Territory podcast, which we believe is his own, responding to this article.
Yeah, well, it certainly did create more feedback than I anticipated. I was taken aback by it. I was left kind of speechless by it. I'm accustomed to people disagreeing with me in the comments or on tweets, whatever. That's par for the course. That's the age of social media. That's the discourse we're in right now. And frankly, that's part of the job. If I'm going to write opinions, people are going to have a right to say what they think. But I will say this. When the reaction, Scott, is this strong and this vehement from this many people, I have to look at it as there being a disconnect between what I intended to say, what I wanted my message to be, and how it was received. And that's on me. If people are not interpreting it the way I thought they would interpret it, that's a poor job to some degree. I didn't make myself clear enough. So I wasn't trying to say, as some people have indicated, don't sign young players. I was merely pointing out the risk, the massive risk, when you give $100 million plus contracts to get guys who are 20, 21, 22 years old. If people are going to criticize me for saying, well, that's obvious, I would have understood that more. But people really saw this as me writing about an extreme case and not one that is necessarily applicable to any other. And I would agree with that. And I mentioned in the article that this is an extreme case. And I mentioned that Tampa Bay, if they had known or had any inkling of any of this, they never would have given him the contract. But I still thought it was worth exploring the things that I wrote about. In retrospect, would I have done it differently? Would I have framed it better? Would I have maybe not even written it because of the strong reaction that I've gotten? Maybe. And I'm not afraid of reaction. I'm not afraid of upsetting people. But when I upset them, I want to upset them for the right reasons. And in this case, it seems like there was that disconnect that I mentioned. It just didn't land properly. And again, I'll own that. I have to own that. And I've been doing this a long time. Doesn't mean you can't learn from your mistakes. If this is indeed a mistake, it doesn't mean you don't go forward and keep this in mind in the future. I'm not going to ever be dismissive of my audience and their reaction. Now, when people say, well, you're an idiot for saying Shohei Ohtani's going to get this much money, that's one thing. This is another. And it really bothered me, obviously. I'm not going to lie about it. It bothered me that I was unable to make a point more clearly so that people kind of grasped it better. And again, maybe this was the wrong example to use. In retrospect, that probably was the case. But my goal with any column I write, any opinion column, is to make people think.
Did you think about that column, John?
I thought it was kind of, I mean, I'll be honest, I thought it was dumb. I mean, that's what I thought. Now, I've said dumb things. So I understand it. When you're in the business of content, which Ken Rosenthal is in, the thing is, when you have editors, and he's not on live radio, he has editors, and he takes time to put a piece like that together. Yeah. At some point, if I'm writing that seriously, at some point I'm probably abandoning it. Because I'm thinking this isn't going to land. This isn't what I'm trying to get across is I'm unable to do it.
Yeah. See, I was listening to a podcast last night, and the person made a really good point. Is when you're writing an article, you actually have a better opportunity to explain yourself than if it was over like a podcast, because an article or a piece about your thoughts, you have the backspace button. You can edit yourself in real time.
But he's got real editors too. I mean,
I
it's
know.
The Athletic.
But when you're speaking free form like we are right now, there's no backspace button.
You can get caught.
You can get caught very easily in what you say.
Look at Jim.
Look at me. So he should have been able to convey whatever message he had way better through this article than talking about it in on a podcast or a YouTube chat. So look, he's apologizing because he got eviscerated on social media. I'm not saying like rightfully so, but there's also a lot of people out there that are like just very, very hateful people. And if you don't like something, just don't read it. If you don't like something, is the first thing that you have to do is go online and attack somebody?
Let me answer that. Yes.
Okay.
It's 2024.
I know.
How do people react to things? Listen, when
Does everyone college that are idiots?
No, but you agree that because of the nature here's the thing. If you're writing that column, here's my angle for that column. Is there anything the Rays could have done differently that would have prevented them from being in this spot? And my answer would be no, because you can't protect against everything. They did the right move for their organization at the time. They need to lock up young players long-term because they can't afford to wait until they become free agents, because Franco, all of a sudden, they can't afford to pay him $200 or $300 million. Who in their right mind would assume any player that's employed by a Major League Baseball team is going to end up criminally tried for pedophilia? So that's where, like, how can you put that on the Rays? And also this idea that there is risk in long-term contracts with young players, that's fair. There's baseball risk in long-term contracts with young players. But anything that happens outside the white lines, there's risk with all players. Every single player. You don't know what could occur behind the scenes or outside the white lines. So I don't see how Franco as a young player is different from Bauer as an older player when it comes to the risk associated with significant contracts.
My biggest problem with apology is I hate it when people, quote, apologize and then they go, oh, I didn't explain it good enough, which is pretty much them nonchalantly being, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't dumb it down enough for you to understand it because, you're too stupid to understand my writing. So it's my fault because I didn't explain it, at a kindergarten level for you. Politicians do that crap all the time, and it always drove me nuts when I did news talk. And it's the same thing here. It's like, just don't, because that's not an apology. Now you're shifting. Oh, well, it wasn't anything I did. It was just you couldn't understand it. So,
I apologize that you didn't understand what I was trying to say.
I'm sorry that you're an idiot and I have to explain myself twice.
And again, if he did not get the vitriol on social media, and I read some of his tweets, and honestly, I think some of them were way out of line. Like,
you're saying the tweets replying to what he wrote?
Like just every single insult in the business.
I agree with that.
And I see people like in town, like just like, guys, if you don't like it, just don't read it.
Some of it is actually funny. When I read some of the replies,
some of them are funny,
and it's like
some of them are hilarious.
It's just the idea, like, wait, hold on. How are you comping someone that's been accused of pedophilia to a guy that tested positive for steroids? Why? Is because Tatis was a young player. Right. And by the way, this idea that the Tatis deal is a bad deal, that's really probably not fair. It's fair to be critical of Tatis's issues that he's had, the mistakes that he's made, but we don't know if it's a bad deal, the Tatis deal. We know the Franco deal is a bad deal.
Yeah. And if you were trying to convey that, like, the risk of signing a young player to a massive contract, why don't you talk about just, hey, there's risk in that.
Sure.
And then not compare anybody, but list off certain players that you think signed big time contracts when they were young and they did not live up to them.
Yeah, there's a lot of examples.
Because that right there would not be comparing one to the other. It would just be giving a list of players that signed big time contracts at a young age that either did not live up to it or something, bad happened with that player to end up making a team regret making that signing. You could have easily done that and not have it be like, why did you compare this guy to this guy?
Do you think it's personal or more personal with Padres fans because of his tweet 2.5
100%.
years ago
100%.
with Max Scherzer? You think if he would have written the same thing, the Scherzer thing never existed,
Yeah.
would there have been the same reaction, or there was additional reaction because of the tweet?
No, 100%. It that started it all. I don't have a problem with Ken Rosenthal at all. I think he's a great reporter. I think he does great reporting. There's sometimes that he gets things wrong. That's
Mhm.
happened everywhere. Do I think he's like this malicious person? No, I don't
Mhm.
at all. But a lot of people do. A lot of people think that Ken Rosenthal sucks. I don't think he sucks. I think he's a very good reporter. But sometimes, people say things that they might regret, or they say things that they didn't come out the right way. And I think this was one of them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you and I, let's be honest, we've been caught before. Like you said, I think it's a little different when you're writing a column and it takes you multiple hours to put that together. And then there's an editor that sees it, but everyone's been in that spot. It is what it is. The article remains right now at The Athletic. In terms of baseball related to the Padres, Jon Heyman reporting within the last 24 hours, I think it was today actually, that the Padres are looking to potentially bring back Gary Sanchez, but there's a divide in what Sanchez wants, what the Padres are willing to pay. Now, you're thinking about Gary Sanchez a year ago. It was a value for the Padres. He filled a role that they needed a year ago as well. It doesn't feel to me that there's the same need for Gary Sanchez today that there was a year ago today with the Padres. So I don't really understand. When I think about needs, I'm not starting with Gary Sanchez. I'm starting with the outfield. I'm starting with pitching. And I'm not really turning to a third catcher DH and a guy that had a little bit of a lightning in a bottle response, or like return to form last year after a couple of down years.
Yeah, it's probably a reason why some of these players aren't signed yet, not just because they are maybe asking for too much money, but I mean, Gary Sanchez with the Padres last year was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
How many years before that was he really bad?
A few.
And it turned into the Padres picked him up off of waivers, I want to say, last year. Or was it a 1 year? He was a free agent. He got released by the Mets, picked him up on a 1 year deal for nothing.
Close to a minimum deal. Mm-hmm.
And hey, show me what you got type of deal.
Yep.
And he definitely outperformed that until he got injured.
Definitely.
But now that Gary Sanchez is probably going to look for a little more money because of what he did with the Padres, teams are not going to want to do that because they don't believe Gary Sanchez is worth that. Now, Gary Sanchez on a 1 year minimum, a 1 year, $11 million deal.
Big difference.
No, thank you.
So let me ask you this. Why are they even, what's the need? He would be a DH, hypothetically. You have multiple catchers. He caught a lot for the Padres last year. He had a 792 OPS in 72 games. You're going to primarily DH Gary Sanchez, who again had a good hitting year, but still didn't have this massive offensive year. He had a good hitting year. To your point, maybe if there's value, you can get him on the cheap, but he's coming off a nice year. So I don't know if they can get him on the cheap coming off last year.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why there's a divide.
Probably.
Right?
And he's probably asking for more money because of what he did accomplish last year. Probably telling teams, hey, look, I kind of revived my career a little bit in San Diego. I proved that I still can be a threat at the plate. And if I'm catching, you don't have to worry about my defense, because I think there was a couple times to start with the Padres where it was a little wonky there, but he proved to be very valuable defensively for the Padres last year. And how many games? I mean, Blake Snell vouched for him, and he helped Blake Snell win a Cy Young.
Yeah, I don't know how many games he ends up catching a year ago. He appeared in 72 games. That's a lot of games for Gary Sanchez, who didn't even end up with the Padres until maybe May, and then missed the end of the season. He was basically playing every day for like 4 months.
Yeah,
3 months.
Without Gary Sanchez, they would have fallen even
missed the playoffs
deeper into the hole.
63 starts at catcher a year ago.
Yeah, there was a time there when they picked up Gary Sanchez where he had some big time hits. To think that, like, oh, this team is, if they're going to make a run, it's because of Gary Sanchez keeping him in it. Well, it just kept him in it for the inevitable.
I mean, 19 home runs is crazy.
I know.
In 72 games.
72 games. How many at-bats?
He had just 260 plate appearances, 234 at-bats. He was homering every 11 ABs
so
a year ago for the
full
Padres.
year. That's like a 35, 36 home run clip.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. That's a huge year. Now, again, to your point, well, he hadn't been doing that. He hadn't been doing that for years. You'd have to go back to like 2019, the last time he was a good.
That's
big,
why.
And that's why it's like buyer beware.
Yeah.
What are you buying?
Yep. Same. It's I think what Blake Snell's going through a little bit with right now, not to that extent.
No.
But you look at, Blake Snell won the Cy Young last year. Let's look at his previous 4 seasons before that.
Yeah, not as good.
Okay. Should we pay him for thinking he can be the pitcher he was last year for us, or is he going to be the pitcher before last year for us instead?
Right.
And then that 160 million, 30 million a year, is it going to look that good for a guy that has a 4.2 ERA and leads the league in walks?
Speaking of Snell, it sounds like San Francisco will not be a landing spot for Blake Snell. However, another starter off the board because Jordan Hicks has signed with the Giants, 4 years, 44. He's expected, per Jeff Passan, to work as a starter after spending most of last year and most of his career in the bullpen. So an affordable starter, like one of those guys that, hey, he spent a lot of his career in the bullpen, but we could make him primarily a starter, maybe get a bit of a bargain. But, Jordan Hicks isn't Blake Snell. It sounds as if the Giants had interest in Blake Snell. But from a Padres perspective, one more potential starting pitcher that the Padres have not signed here this offseason.
Is that a starting pitcher, though?
I mean, if Jeff Passan's saying he's expected to start.
I looked up his stats today because it was interesting. I'm like, oh, another starter in the division.
Right.
He's not pitched over 60-something innings in his entire career.
That was a little bit of Lugo heading into last year, wasn't
Originally,
it?
in the card system, he was supposed to be a closer.
Yeah, he's the guy that throws 104 miles an hour.
He's got like a 103,
Yeah.
like sinker.
Well, okay. Last year, Lugo threw 146, Jim. The year before, 65 innings. The year before that, 45 innings. The year before that, 35 innings.
Oh, maybe. I don't
See
know.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, it's possible.
It's possible. It's possible. But yeah, it's one of those things like, I don't know what the Giants are doing.
Neither do I.
Bob Melvin, hey, good luck, man. Because I don't have anything bad to say about you. But like, you might have maybe chose a situation that I don't know if it's going to pan out like how you thought it will in San Francisco.
Right.
There's a lot of talk there about signing big time free agents, and it never happens. Or at least the last
3 off seasons.
While their GM Farhan's been there. But who knows? Maybe he turns out to be good, and it's going to suck because obviously he's in the division with the Padres, or maybe it's going to be a bad deal for them. I don't know.
Bit of value. I mean, again, if he is actually a starter, like 135 inning guy, $11 million a year. Again, that's below the rate of what other like mid starting pitchers are getting, like Sean Manaea, right? So maybe there's a little bit of value in there. But again, that's not Blake Snell. And they were going after guys like Snell and Yamamoto and Ohtani, and they end up with Jung-Hoo Lee and Jordan Hicks.
Yeah. By the way, 4:30, John. I will fix the Padres at 4:30. I have a blockbuster move at 4:30 that I think the Padres should really try to explore.
Did you just think about that?
No, I actually have it there in the rundown.
Wow, it's the first time you've been in the rundown this week. I like that. All right, on the other side.
Better late than never to start on Friday, right?
No doubt, no doubt. With Aaron away, Jim's got an extra 30 seconds to spend on the show. That's terrific.
Oh, wow, cool.
He's been up since 7 a.m, so he's decided to spend a minute on the show. All right, Richard Pitino, head coach at the University of New Mexico, San Diego State, and the Lobos tomorrow at 11 a.m. with pregame coverage beginning at 10:30. Richard Pitino weighing in on All-American candidate Jaden LeDee of San Diego State. Next on Jon and Jim. Big one in the Mountain West tomorrow. San Diego State, New Mexico. The Lobos head coach Richard Pitino on Jaden Ledee. You'll hear from Richard Pitino next.
This update is brought to you by Indeed.com. College football news of the day. Kalen DeBoer, now the former head coach at Washington, will be introduced, I believe, next week as the next head coach at Alabama after Nick Saban announced his retirement yesterday. Aztecs take on New Mexico tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. tip-off at New Mexico at the Pit. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And we have NFL games right here this weekend. On Sunday, you can listen to the Cowboys take on the Packers at 1 p.m., followed by the Rams taking on the Lions right here on San Diego Sports 760. Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high. You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit today.
Mike Schmidt, not Philly Hall of Famer, 548 home runs. Mike Schmidt, the former offensive line coach at San Diego State, former walk-on for the Aztecs, later team captain, O-line coach when Pumphrey set the record, when Penny was there, had been at Mississippi State. He's coming back to the Mesa per Kirk Kenny. Expected to return to San Diego State as offensive line coach. We talked about this yesterday, Jim. This is because the Aztecs need to make a change. Bill O'Boyle was hired away. He had just landed at San Diego State within the last month. Northwestern hired him away yesterday. So Mike Schmidt, again, no relation, I don't believe.
At first, I thought you said Mike Schilt. And I'm like, wait a second.
No, not Mike Schilt. That would be amazing. Side gig?
Yeah, just doing two things at once.
Off season?
Yeah, probably.
He should be busy, though, at least in September.
September, he'll definitely be busy.
October
TBD.
Yeah.
But he'll miss some practices and things like that. But I think he'll be ready for the season.
Do you like the idea of Mike Schilt?
I do. I think that he can motivate the guys up front.
Aztecs way?
The Aztecs way.
Yeah.
Bring whatever way you had with the Padres. Hopefully it works out. And bring it to the Aztecs.
I like that.
I'm not really worried about that. I think Sean Lewis has that covered.
Okay, I agree.
As far as the motivational side of things.
I think so. But again, Mike Schmidt, it's a name familiar to Aztec fans. He spent 10 years as their offensive line coach, was working for Zach Arnett at Mississippi State. Zach Arnett was let go. Mike Schmidt became available. Bill O'Boyle goes to Northwestern, and reuniting in San Diego at San Diego State, potentially per Kirk Kenny at the UT. Mike Schmidt expected to return to San Diego State as its newest offensive line coach. Speaking of the Aztecs, but on the basketball side, tomorrow, Jim will be awake for this, we're told. 11 a.m. start.
is that supposed
I
to
have
mean?
a source. Well, you said you're gonna be up for it. You don't really sleep until 11 a.m. anymore.
No, I never do.
Never?
I can't remember the last time I'm always.
You were 4 hours late on Machado's extension.
That was a year ago.
That's not. You just said you never sleep until 11.
Okay, when I saw the Machado news, it was around like 9:45 ish.
Came out around 6.
And it came out 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm. It was amazing how much time had passed.
You got to.
It was like a separate news cycle by the time you woke
Because
up.
the second I opened my Twitter,
I sent you, I think, 15 texts.
you sent me 15 texts, and you're like, I can't wait till you wake
Yeah,
up.
I'm like, oh
You're
my
like,
gosh.
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. I'm
It's
not
the
telling
biggest
you.
story ever.
And I wake up, and
then you
just
go to your phone.
my mentions are all Jim's an idiot. How could Jim miss this? Oh my God, he's an idiot. And I'm thinking to myself, did this just happen?
Yes.
No. It happened at 6 a.m.
Right. So that's why I say this game tomorrow at 11 a.m. We'll have pregame coverage beginning at 10:30. This is the definition of a big game for both of these teams. New Mexico, from like a resume perspective, for the Aztecs, you could get to 4-0 in the league and win in one of the toughest environments in the conference and even in the country. So New Mexico and San Diego State. Richard Pitino, the son of Rick Pitino, is the head coach of the Lobos. He's in his 3rd season, and he was talking, I think it was either earlier today, I think it was earlier today, about San Diego State's Jaden Ledee.
He's done a great job of, just continue to develop his game. I don't know if he has a true weakness, to go along with obviously being very, very strong and physical and tough. I mean, San Diego State's always had those guys, but he's got an offensive skill package that may be a little bit more unique. So I can't think of one guy. He doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. I do know that. And it's going to be a major challenge.
Richard Pitino says Jaden Ledee will be a challenge, which has
sky's blue,
right? Which has been the case for every team. Yeah. What did he do the other night? We haven't even talked about 31 points
and 10 rebounds.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
30 and 10.
Yes, 19 free throw attempts.
It's good.
Yep.
He's a load down there.
Yes.
As he goes, the Aztecs go. Like if he's putting up 25 and 10 every game.
And you're right. He's been good, and they've been good. They're 14-2. He's basically hasn't skipped a beat all season.
Yeah, and Lamont's had an up and down season. I think he's been playing way better of late.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Darion Trammell. Reese Waters has been pretty consistent. Same thing with Micah Parrish. Jay Powell is obviously coming on in a big way of late. And I think Miles Bird coming off the bench is making some nice plays and getting more trust from the coaching staff to be out there in bigger time moments. But if you get 25 or 20 to 25 and 10 every single game from Ledee, you can afford to have maybe an off night from a Lamont Butler, right? But when Lamont Butler has a night where he can score 15 points and you're still getting 20 to 25 from Jaden,
you're going to be tough to beat.
You're going to be very tough to beat.
Yeah. I agree. What do you got, Brent?
I'm going to be John now. The thing that worries me, and it worried us last year, Jamal Mashburn's kid and Eddie House's kid both killed us last year.
No doubt.
They both are back.
New Mexico had, to Brent's point, San Diego State's number. You could certainly argue that they easily could have gone 2-0 against the Aztecs. They beat them at Viejas, San Diego State's only home loss. They led by 1 with 0.1 seconds left before Lamont Butler hit a 3 straight on from 25 feet out to stun the Lobos at the pit. So New Mexico played San Diego State really well a year ago, and this thing's just not going to be easy. New Mexico's 1-2 in the league with 2 road losses. They just have to have it.
Well, guess what? They didn't beat them last year.
I know. I agree. I said they could have.
I know.
No, I know. I know they didn't. I'm just saying New Mexico, a lot like UNLV, has a lot of talent. To Brent's point, they got these returning veteran guards. Jamal Mashburn Jr. is a scorer. Jalen House is a scorer. They've been very good. They're 13-3 this year. They have not lost at home. San Diego State is 14-2, 3-0 in the Mountain West. The Aztecs are 19th in the country coming in.
This is one of those games where if they lose, what's the quad game? Is this a quad one?
This is quad one.
Definitely quad one. Definitely quad one. Lose this game, then we'll all be saying, not expected, but it's not the end of the world. New Mexico needed to have this game desperately, you feel like. And so we won't be sitting here tomorrow afternoon if they happen to lose. I think that upset about it. But man, if they win, that's a statement. To me, that's a statement, man.
I agree with that.
And I think the win on the road versus Gonzaga, even though Gonzaga's kind of maybe not be
Yeah,
good.
lost last night at Santa Clara by 1.
But it was on the road,
Yep.
so still
quad 1.
Still quad 1. Hopefully it remains a quad 1.
Yep.
But if they win tomorrow, man, you got to feel pretty good about yourself if you're this Aztecs team.
I know, I agree. From a betting line perspective, New Mexico is now a 2.5-point favorite. So San Diego State on the road, number 19, perfect in the league. You're exactly right. It is a statement. You win this game, you're 4-0 in the league, and all of a sudden you're the clear front runner. Now, of course, off last year, everyone knows San Diego State's going to be right there. But there's 4, 5, 6 teams that are good in this league. To become the clear front runner, you win tomorrow in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a big game coming up next week against Nevada back at home. Then they go to Boise next weekend. It's gonna be a bit of a gauntlet. It really will. From now until Selection Sunday, I think the good news is you're playing a lot of really good opponents, so there's opportunities. The bad news is you're playing a lot of really good opponents, so there's chances you can get picked off. Because night in and night out, there's going to be a lot of challenges coming up in the Mountain West for San Diego State.
Yeah, and that's if you happen to lose a quad 1 game, and other teams might be saying, well, that's our only opportunity to quad 1 win. Well, guess what? They have 6 total right now in the conference to have a quad 1 game.
Yeah, they've got a lot. I'm not even sure how many they still have coming up. They probably have about 6. Yeah,
so
that's a lot.
They have many opportunities to get quad 1 wins if they don't happen to win tomorrow.
I agree with you. All right, coming up at 5:30, Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network. We'll tell you about our giveaway in the 4 o'clock hour coming up as well. Brock Purdy, no longer front runner for NFL MVP.
Well, yeah, I know.
First team All-Pro or not in 2023 for the Niners quarterback. Plus 7 years ago today. A trip down memory lane next on Jon and Jim. 7 years ago today. Stay with us. All right, Jim's going to hate me, but he always does. So what was it that you said like 3 or 4 weeks ago heading into the Ravens game regarding Purdy in terms of like one of the great statistical seasons in NFL history? Or take me back. Take me back. You said this. You're going to remember. What did you say? I'm not going to put words in your mouth. What did you say about Purdy at the time?
I don't exactly remember, but it was on the line of there are some stats that he's having, some things that he's doing that is like historic.
Okay. All right. I give you credit for saying that. Do you still feel that way? As you look, QBR, number 1 in the NFL this year.
Mm-hmm.
Touchdown passes, he may have been number 1 in the NFL this year. Is that right?
No, he was number because he didn't play the final game of the season.
True. Okay. Fair. He was 3rd in touchdown passes. He only had 11 picks, 31 touchdowns, 11 picks, 4,280 yards. If you're wondering where 4,280 yards is in the history of the NFL in a single season, it is 135th, which would be 2 yards less than Geno Smith with Seattle last year and 2 yards more than Jeff Garcia for the 2009ers.
Let me ask you this.
If he had a great year,
he did.
I'm to be fair, he did have a great year.
I forget where I saw it, but his passer rating, QBR, how many games he had a like 140 passer rating in the season, how many games he did.
Mm-hmm.
2 other players have done that, and they both won MVPs. Purdy will not win MVP this year.
Well, I just saw first team AP voting for quarterback, and Lamar Jackson had like 90% of the votes, right?
And that means he'll be the MVP. And then Dak got second team All Pro.
Which honestly, that's a little surprising, is it not? That's a little surprising. Did Dak have a better season than Brock Purdy?
Dak played 1 extra game, had padded stats versus the Commanders in week 17 or week 18. Week 18. And you take out week 18, him and Dak had like the same numbers.
Okay.
And by the way, I think Purdy had better diving deep in the stats, he had better numbers than Dak.
And of course, who even cares if Purdy makes a postseason run and Jackson doesn't, or vice versa? Yeah. It's all determined now to come.
I think every single one of those players would rather have the Super Bowl MVP
or make a Super Bowl
than a first team AP
and a first round exit.
Yeah.
Dak was 2nd in QBR.
Okay.
Purdy was 1st in QBR.
Well, I know. I'm just saying you're comparing that they're close. He had 30. Dak led the league in touchdowns. He had 36, only 9 picks. So
he had a good year. And
Very
they
good
were
year.
good this year. They weren't as good as San Francisco, but San Francisco's the 1 seed. They had a good year.
I heard this yesterday, and I thought it was interesting. If Patrick Mahomes had the season that Brock Purdy had,
Patrick Mahomes had Purdy's season.
and
Did win
the
MVP.
and the team was the number 1 seed in the AFC,
Right, 14-3.
or whatever the case, 12-5, but the number 1 seed, best team in the AFC, and he had the same exact stats as Brock Purdy, and you have every quarterback. Lamar did the same thing this year, right? Same record as Kansas City. If Dak did the same thing, right? Mahomes is the MVP.
Yeah, Jim, obviously.
So
That's called marketing, packaging.
well, that's stupid.
No, but that's how it works. Bias comes into all of it because Mahomes, we know who Mahomes is heading into the year. So you're always gonna have that bias heading in. It's like getting an unbiased jury when everyone knows the case.
So we're gonna hold a guy. We're gonna
yeah,
hold
the
that
guy
against
was
the guy.
saying Mr. Irrelevant
So
is never gonna hold a
that should-
candle.
that
That's
should-
how it works.
but
That's
here-
life, man.
Just listen. That should be a huge reason why. I'm not trying to campaign here for Brock Purdy MVP. I'm
Okay.
not. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be more of an accomplishment for the last pick in the NFL draft to put up the numbers that he did this year rather than a guy that's drafted in the top 10?
Yeah, but guess what he doesn't have? Chunky soup ads, a tight end dating Taylor Swift,
No, I'm not.
Super Bowl titles, but that's all a part of it. That's
Well,
I
no,
know
no,
it's not fair, but it's
But
life.
isn't it more of an accomplishment to be the last guy picked in the draft and be a pretty much an
Maybe,
all-pro?
but you tell me, does Kansas get the benefit of the doubt on Selection Sunday because they're always in the NCAA tournament? If they're between a 2 seed and a 1 seed,
Well,
they get the 1 over San Diego State or not?
I think it's more metric based in college basketball. than it is in-
Rep matters though. Reputation,
but
I agree, it's metric related,
Yeah.
but just like NFL is somewhat statistical. Or I mean, listen, if Purdy would have beaten Lamar, we could say whatever we want to say there about Patrick Mahomes. The truth is, if Purdy beats Baltimore and outplays Jackson, he's walking away with
he's
the
MVP.
MVP.
That was the MVP game.
Yep.
But in years past, if you put up Lamar Jackson's numbers to past MVPs,
Sure, not as good.
not even close.
I agree.
Not even close.
Mm-hmm.
That they are this year basing the MVP, and it's different this year for whatever reason, because a lot of people don't like Brock Purdy for whatever reason. Is that they're basing this year's MVP off of
That game.
the true, I guess, meaning for a lot of people is most valuable player. Like, hey, this guy's the most valuable to the team, not who had the best statistical season.
I hate to bring it up, but I will anyway because Jim sent it to me earlier. 7 years ago today.
This is John. This is not me. This
7
is
years
all
ago
John.
today,
This
a
is all
letter
John.
from Dean Spanos
Okay.
was the tweet, and the infamous line is, "The Chargers are determined to fight for LA, and we are excited to get started." 7 years ago today, I personally, honestly, I feel like San Diego sports fans, by and large, the story has changed so much over those 7 years. Where the first 2 years in Carson, all people talked about was, oh, the cannon went off against the Dolphins, and oh, look at, they said San Diego, the official, to the point where now it's almost like, to some extent, I'm not saying people don't watch them, because they do, but from like a San Diego sports talk perspective, there's like a level of irrelevancy. They weren't irrelevant when they left, make no mistake, and they were talked about heavily in the years after the move, but 7 years. My point is, it's been 7 years. You're pushing a decade by the time next. It's been 7 years, and I feel like a lot of San Diegans, or at least there's been a lot of change when it comes to how the Chargers are discussed in San Diego, even over the 7 years since they've left.
Yeah, they've become, I think, completely irrelevant in this town. They're still Charger fans here for sure. I'm not discrediting.
It's
that.
not. I wouldn't
But
say
I think
relevant, but I feel like in the sports talk scene, yes. I don't think like on television.
because
it's the NFL.
It's NFL.
Exactly.
You could put on Browns Bengals and
I
it's still
agree.
going to get numbers.
Yep.
I think it's irrelevant mostly.
Yeah.
Like the majority, the vast majority, they're irrelevant here. And I think a big reason, not only because they of that letter that you bring up 7 years to the day later, and Dean's a giant a-hole, but the fact that once they left, that door for them completely shut.
Mm-hmm.
There was no olive branch. There was no trying to keep the remaining, San Diego fans. There was no trying to convince the angry San Diego fans why this was a good move for the franchise going forward. But
turn a page.
They completely said in that piece, that letter, F you, San Diego.
Yeah, it wasn't Southern California Chargers. It wasn't, hey, we're gonna play games between San Diego and LA. No, we're going to be the runners in Los Angeles. We're going to play where the Rams play, and we are all in on Los Angeles. We are
you, San Diego.
Yeah, that's exactly
that's what it was, and that is the reason why now. And I think they still would be at this point, right? Even if they did really try hard with San Diego fans that were upset, and rightfully so. But there is nothing about this town that screams Chargers anymore, or resembles them anymore.
How often do you even see? Like, seriously, I'm in all seriousness. How often do you see someone wearing Chargers gear?
Very rarely,
right?
Very.
I mean, I have
seen
it. I've seen it,
very
but
rarely.
It's so rare. I'll see Raiders or Cowboys or any NFL team or any baseball team, to be honest, but it's rare to see Chargers.
Well,
I see homeless people wearing Chargers stuff all the time.
All right.
Because a lot of people donated their stuff to homeless people, shelters. But I think, and 100% credit to the Padres and Peter Seidler, like, this town's flipped 100%. It's Padres.
It's a baseball town.
It's a baseball
Talked
town.
about 365 days a year.
Yeah.
I think San Diego State has taken advantage. Look at Snapdragon Stadium, San Diego State basketball.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the phones for a second. Cadillac John wants to weigh in. 877-767-4760. Cadillac John, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks, man.
Jon and Jim and Brent, love you guys. Happy Friday.
You as well.
So there's a phrase, thank you. There's a phrase that I'm living by. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The Chargers left me. They divorced me. I have become a newly minted Raiders fan.
Nice.
They're the single team that hates the Chargers the most. So I'm a Raiders fan. I got Raiders gear now, license plate frame, jersey.
Perfect.
I'm just saying, right? I mean, I didn't leave the Chargers, so I have a new team now. So
all right.
Love it, man.
Raiders.
You'll have to work on those felonies, though.
Yeah, the only issue is if you're Cadillac John and you flip to the Raiders, is you're not enjoying much on-field success either.
And the Raiders kind of did the exact same thing to
they've done it
but they've done
5 times.
They've done it multiple times.
Yeah.
LA to Oakland,
Back.
Oakland to LA,
Exactly.
back to Oakland, down
Vegas.
to Vegas. The
Vagabonds.
Yeah, the Raiders brand is like, it can go anywhere.
All right, the wrap on the other side. We've got Trainwreck Radio in the 4 o'clock hour as well. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, great voice. She'll get us ready for Wild Card Weekend. She'll join us at 5:30. Hour 2, Jon and Jim next.
This update's brought to you by Indeed.com. There's a new head coach in Alabama, Kalen DeBoer. Former Washington.
That is a long pregnant pause.
No, there is. Trust
my
us.
thing was loading, all right? Kalen DeBoer, former head coach at Washington, will not be the head coach at Alabama, succeeding Nick Saban.
What are you, Ron Burgundy?
No, I'm not. Aztecs, they take on New Mexico tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. tip-off. At the Pip, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And we have NFL games this weekend you can listen to on the radios. Cowboys taking on the Packers at 1 p.m., followed by the Rams taking on the Lions. Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high. You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, joins us at 5:30. We'll get to the wrap in a moment. We have Shen Yun tickets, Jim, to give away. Is that part of the bachelorette party this weekend or not?
No, it's not. But yes, the Shen Yun tickets.
Okay, Shen Yun tickets we'll give
go.
away during
That's what
Train
Jim's
Wreck
going to do
Radio.
while they're at the bachelorette party.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's next Friday night.
Ooh, no, not. I'm not going to be doing that then.
We are told that it's something you need to see at least once in your lifetime, that it's breathtaking. Dance and music. We gave away tickets yesterday. We'll do it again here today during Trainwreck Radio. Now, have we heard from Erin since the start of the show? And now, is there any update from? Is she in Phoenix or Tucson? Where is she? Tempe,
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale. Is there any update? What's the latest?
I got
on
no
this
update. I got
bachelorette
no
party?
update. I got no update.
No afternoon. Hey, we're by the pool.
No, nothing. It's really cold there right now, so
That
it's,
makes
it's
sense,
only
yeah.
going to be hot tub, as I was told.
Oh, just hot tub.
Hot tubbing, because of course next weekend it's going to be nice and sunny, 75, 80 degrees, and this weekend it's not that.
So is she
at
upset
all.
a little bit about that weather-wise?
No, she's not really.
Okay.
No, she's fine. Hot tub is good enough. So
All
there's
right.
nothing.
Keep us updated if anything, throughout the show.
What am I supposed
People
to-
are interested. I think people want to know. You take us behind the scenes.
I'm sure eventually I will see pictures
Of the chef?
The chef. I hate you
I
so much.
apologize. It's for the show.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
By the way, at 4:30, Jim has
you
like.
must be really need to be jacked to go to culinary school these days.
I know.
Yeah.
All these chefs are like.
He's curling those 10-pound sausages. I don't know.
What do you have for us at 4:30? You're very excited for Padres
I
fans.
am.
You have something you're going to share with our listeners at 4:30. Would you call it a huge announcement? Like, is it a programming thing?
No.
It's
I
not
don't have a
programming.
programming announcement.
Oh,
What do you-
man.
what do you programming
That'd be
announcement?
nice if you did.
Yeah, right. Not here.
Right.
No, I there's a move out there, a potential blockbuster move that I think is crazy. Like, it's not one of those things that, let's go have them re-sign Blake Snell, or have
Trade
them
for Soto.
trade back for Soto, or sign Cody Bellinger. Like,
Okay.
it's not one of those crazy deals. I think this could make sense. It would be risky, but I think it would make sense, and I think it would make the Padres a way better team. And it could be a domino effect type of move.
Okay, so Jim has not told me what he's talking about because I said, tell me on air. And the rundown just says, like, Jim's going to talk about something. I'm like, okay, I'll let you do that at 4:30.
And I have an update as you were speaking.
We have bachelorette party update?
I just got a text message just with 2 videos of the place. I'm scared to look.
Videos of the place.
Of the place, yeah. Should I watch it live and you see my reaction?
Yeah, how long are the videos? I mean,
it doesn't
30 seconds.
They're
Her friends are like, make sure only to
15 seconds.
Okay,
right?
so you're watching. She's showing you the place.
All right, it says there's a sign that says bride to be. It says you're really pretty, and there's balloons everywhere. Who's that guy? No, there's a nice pool outside.
Do they really need 6 guys to bring room service?
There is a hammock. I'm a little concerned about that. All right, everything's good there. You got some pink balloons. You got some candles and.
Okay, so she's keeping you updated.
Yeah.
To the best of her ability.
Okay.
Is it just one video or 2?
There's 2.
Okay. And what does the second video look like? Similar?
Yeah, there's like 3 dudes there all wiping doing the pool cleaning. They're pool cleaning. Yeah.
Pool boys. You're
pool
fine.
boys, yeah.
You're fine.
A couple pool boys, it's fine.
Normal weekend.
Normal weekend. A couple pool boys and a nice private chef. Yeah.
Yeah. What could go wrong? All right. By the way, before we get to the wrap, I mentioned this in the Fusion. In Buffalo today, they're asking, what are people in Buffalo called? I was going to say, like,
are we going to survive?
Mafia.
Yeah, like Bills fans.
No, Bills Mafia.
Bills fans are asked to clean the stadium because of the snow.
I thought you were like, I thought they were saying, hey, are we going to survive this snowstorm?
No, they're going to survive the snowstorm.
Who
but they have
worse?
to clear out the stadium.
What's a worse game to go to this weekend? Buffalo?
What's the weather in Buffalo in terms of high temperature?
I don't know.
It's Kansas City because I think Kansas City wind chill's minus 30 and Buffalo's not that. The wind chill is the lower the wind chill is the place you don't want to be. Right, Brent? I would much prefer 30 in snow to minus 30 in dry. Much prefer.
It's all the same though.
Dude, minus 30, you're like dying.
Yeah, but once you
When did they play?
Saturday
or Sunday?
That was like
Saturday.
a Tuesday though, from where I lived. And when I used to smoke cigarettes, I'd go outside in colder weather than that.
Yeah, but you didn't smoke cigarettes for 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Okay, I didn't. I did. But you can just wear more clothes.
Sunday, by the way. Bills is Sunday and Chiefs is Saturday.
Sunday, 60% chance of snow with the high of 28 degrees.
Oh,
yeah, not even
balmy. But what about the Chiefs? It's like negative, right?
Yeah,
and it's a night game.
Kansas City tomorrow, Saturday.
Yeah,
a high of 8 degrees.
But at night, it's not going to be 8 degrees.
No.
It game's at 8 o'clock.
It's going to be minus 7 degrees. And yes, the wind chill is minus 30.
Minus 30. I mean, that's one of the coldest games in NFL history.
It'll be fine. Wear like 5 hoodies and drink hot chocolate.
Yeah, of course, today it's a high of 29.
Oh,
with a low of 8 degrees. And it drops all the way to minus 7 degrees.
Minus.
Bro, you couldn't pay. Well, you could.
The temperature isn't even the temperature. It's minus the temperature. What does that even mean? Minus. How can you be under?
How can you be under 0?
Under 0. I mean, why didn't they just make the scale different? What's minus?
Like, it gets colder than minus 7?
Yeah, how could it be colder than 0?
Like, do you really think that people are standing there like, man, this feels like minus 24 degrees?
It's very weird.
To me, I would die.
You see StubHub, by the way, you can get in for $30.
Drinks.
You can get in tomorrow for $30.
Yeah, no thanks.
You want to know why? Because it's minus 30.
And Kevin Harlan made a really good point today, by the way. Sorry, Brent. What?
I was just gonna say this is like the last 4 Badger games every year. That's why for me it's just like, oh no, not 30 below.
Yeah, no, they're used to it. Yeah, they're used to it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, have a Jack and Coke and shut up.
$34 right now if you want to go.
You want to go?
Yeah, 2 tickets, section 307, row 14. Boom.
Kevin Harlan made a good point today, and the Chiefs have been winning so much the last 4 or 5 years.
Jim facts.
3 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl wins.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm a fan of that team, I'm like,
I'm good. I'm good for this one.
Like, they've had 15 consecutive home games in the playoffs. They've made 4 straight AFC title games. Like,
let's sit this one out.
I think I'm going to be okay on this one. It's not like a must go to type of game. The first playoff game with Mahomes and the first AFC championship game, probably the second, and obviously the third, like those are like must go to games against like Brady and stuff, right?
Right.
This one against the Miami Dolphins.
Are you losing at minus 30 to Miami? Again, it's possible. I get it. It's not like the Miami Dolphins are literally from Miami. These players are from everywhere. And it's not like the Chiefs are from Kansas City. But are the Dolphins really winning in minus 30?
I always remember when Dome Team Atlanta and
I
Michael
know.
Vick went into Lambeau.
There's
and
examples.
They kicked
I know.
the what out of them.
There are examples.
So it can happen.
It can happen.
The Niners a few years ago beat the Packers.
Yeah, they did it a couple times.
Oh, well,
so.
Packers with Aaron Rodgers lost the 1 seed 3 times
Yeah, well,
in a
Aaron
decade
Rodgers
or more.
I don't think it makes as big of a
Yeah.
difference as it used to. They got
Maybe.
well between like all the Nike cold gear and everything else, just the apparel's come so long in like the past 30 years that it doesn't make as big of a difference as it used to, I don't think.
Does to me. All right, let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Well, Kalen DeBoer won a national championship at Alabama.
He better, because if he doesn't,
Right.
he gone. Like, has any coach had more pressure in college football than Kalen DeBoer coming up next season?
Maybe. But I mean, could you live with the pressure? $12 million a year? How much is going to be guaranteed? Like $70 million guaranteed.
And I said it yesterday when Saban retired, that Alabama could get anybody they want. Anybody. But then thinking about it more and hearing more people talk about it, that probably was a job that I think some people were like, nah, I'm good. I'll be the guy after the guy. Because if I go there after Saban and I don't win right away, it's over. It's done.
And it's so hard to win now. Expanded playoff, you're playing 3 or 4 playoff games to win a national championship. Like, you're not going to just win them year in and year out.
I mean, maybe Saban is extremely smart. This has to be playing chess while everyone's playing checkers type of move where, hey, look, I'm out after the final only 4-team playoff. And to your point, it's going to become much harder to win a college football championship now because of the expanded playoffs and the extra games and just maybe not the parity, but the craziness of playing those extra games.
Yeah,
so,
and just like he's
NIL.
NIL portal. I think he probably is getting out at the right time. To your point, I think if DeBoer doesn't win a national championship, well, then he's not going to be there beyond 3 or 4 years. By the way, I looked this up as he was at Fresno State. Think about this. He was at Fresno State 3 years ago. He spent 2 years in Fresno, 2 years at Washington. Now he's heading for Alabama. He only played San Diego State once. The Aztecs were 7-0 in Carson and lost to Fresno State 30-20. That's the game Fresno State scored 20 points, I think, in the first quarter. But only one game against San Diego State. They were 7-0, and Fresno State upset San Diego State up in Carson that day back during the pandemic. All right, next question.
Is tomorrow's game a must-win for the Aztecs?
It's not a must-win for the Aztecs because it's quad one game on the road versus a very good New Mexico team. If they lose, I would not expect them to drop that much in the net rankings. They might drop out of the top 25 and people will lose their minds. But the metrics that matter the most, I don't think it will hurt them that much if they lose. Now, if they get blown out, they might drop 5 or 6 spots. I don't know. But if they lose a close one, it's not going to mean that much, I feel like.
I agree. It's not a must win. I would say these next 3 games, you have road games at New Mexico and Boise and a home game against Nevada. Ideally, you win 2 of the 3. Then you're in pole position because you're winning at least 1 road game in that scenario. You have to win 1 of the 3. You have to either win Saturday or at home against Nevada or at Boise State. You absolutely have to. So all these games are big for San Diego State coming up. You're right. This is not a must-win game. Metrically, shouldn't have a huge impact if they don't win it. If they do win it, absolutely could have a really positive impact for SDSU. Next question.
Do you guys think Blake Snell is worth $150 million?
I think he is, but me personally, I wouldn't. If I was the owner of a team, I would not. A GM, I wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I've seen Blake Snell the last 3 years, and it's a roller coaster ride at times. It is. When he's on, he is really good. He's one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in the game. But the problem with him is he can never be consistent. He was this past year for sure, but back it up. Do it for I don't know, 2 years in a row.
Yeah, just win the Cy Young back-to-back years.
Or at least have a year where you go okay, after your Cy Young next year, if he has a 2.5 ERA,
yeah,
he goes 12-6,
right.
Then that's okay. You backed it up for sure.
I would say that my threshold for Blake Snell is a 30-year-old, or maybe he's 31, is right there. I'm not going higher than that number.
I agree.
If someone told me 5 or 6 years in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 a year, and the total price tag was 150 or below, I'd be very intrigued. But you're right. In those 5 years, all aren't going to be prime frontline starter years. You hope you get 3 of the 5 like that. It is a little tricky with someone like Blake Snell. I agree with that. My threshold's probably right on that 150 number. I don't think the Padres are anywhere near it. I don't think they'll be involved in this conversation. But beyond 150 probably is a pretty big reach. Next question.
Is Caleb Williams in the right by saying he has no interest in playing for my Chicago Bears?
Is that real, that tweet or not? It has thousands of retweets and likes. That doesn't mean it's real.
From Caleb?
Wouldn't that be one of the top stories at ESPN.com right now?
No one has yeah, I don't know if it's truly real or not.
I don't know if that's real. That would be at ESPN.com.
I think, if he doesn't want to go to the Bears,
I don't think it's real, by the way.
If he doesn't want to go to the Bears, would you rather go to Washington instead?
I was going to say that. These other organizations aren't exactly all
like you rather go to
Kansas City.
I mean, you rather go to New England.
Right.
I mean, Chicago.
I don't think it's real.
I don't think it is either. Yeah. But I think for him, Chicago is a good landing spot.
I agree.
I think Chicago makes the most sense because I think they can win faster than the other organizations that potentially would take him, which would be probably a lot. And because the Bears have two first-round draft picks, they can improve faster.
Yeah. What do you think, Brian? I mean, you're a Bears
you don't
fan.
want Caleb
First of all,
Williams.
Brian, I don't even think this is real. Before you hate on Caleb like he's Aaron Rodgers, which would be fair if he actually said this, and we'll find out if he did. I don't even know if this is accurate. If it's not accurate, would you be okay with them taking him? Or it's not more, or for you, it's not about Caleb Williams. It's about, well, they have Justin Fields, and they just took a high pick with a quarterback.
I think they should just stick with Fields, and I want them to trade the pick to Washington for a bunch of other number 1 picks. Take Marvin Harrison, and you have DJ Moore, Harrison, use all their cap space, get an offensive line that will actually block on 3rd down, and I think we'll be all right. Instead of taking, Caleb Williams, who you got a red flag because he has a LeVar Ball wannabe dad that is always running his mouth in the media and getting into it, which is just going to be annoying. He cries after every single time they lose.
I don't know about that one.
Back-to-back games, he cried
he literally
on camera.
Actually did
That-
literally
on
cry.
camera.
That to me that's just
On
like a personal.
camera.
So
I would say this.
So it means that
he cried because he cares.
I don't believe his
he cried
dad.
because he lost.
I don't believe his dad when he says that he's not going to come out into the draft. I don't think there's any scenario where he's going back there.
Here's the other thing. I dare you to go back to college because you're not going back to the weak-ass Pac-12. You're going to go to the Big Ten. And guess what your schedule is next year? You have LSU. You have at Michigan, Wisconsin, Penn State. You have at Washington. You have at UCLA and at Notre Dame.
He could obviously play anywhere in college because theoretically he could just transfer and not sit out if he wanted to stay in college, and he could have unlimited NIL money, which he has at SC. But for someone like Caleb Williams, the first pick in the draft is literally worth tens of millions of dollars, which you're not getting an NIL. I don't think he's going to really determine his destination like that. Maybe he will. I don't understand why he wouldn't play for the Chicago Bears. There's way worse spots.
He wouldn't be the first guy to do it. Elway did it.
I know. And
hell, everyone in this town.
Here in
I
Manning.
say Eli Manning did it.
If Caleb Williams got drafted by the Bears, Brent, and he was good, are you still going to hate on him?
He's going to have to earn it. I'm not going to just start kissing his ass just because he plays for my team. I'm not a Packer fan.
Wow.
I think Caleb Williams is a lot better than the way his team played this past year at SC.
Yeah.
But I also can't guarantee some franchise elite Hall of Fame
it's
quarterback.
like me and J-Riff were talking about this when you guys are in the Fusion. Go back a couple years ago, that Sam Darnold draft, all those dudes are can't miss generational talents. And I'll look at them. None of them are even in the league anymore. So just because now the media wants to call him a can't miss talent because they have nothing better and it's going to get them clicks, I'm not buying it yet.
I think he's better than Justin Fields, though, like by a significant margin. I think Justin Fields, he had 5 touchdown passes and everyone wants to keep him. It lasts like month and a half.
Well, we got a new OC coming in and
dude, Chicago is tough. You look at the history of like quarterbacks in Chicago.
Well, the thing is, you think if you just put Caleb Williams in that same offensive line and the
Well,
same
no, of
weapons,
course.
he's
Right.
not going to do,
But that's why they have the draft to improve those and the
Well,
free
see, that's the
agency.
thing.
And
They have the draft and free agency. They can just keep him and
It's the
get
chicken
other
egg
pieces
stuff.
that they
It's like,
need.
is Purdy good? elsewhere?
But
We
you
don't know.
know-
Is Mahomes good
Because
elsewhere?
we need offensive linemen, we need more receiver, we need more than
But
just
this is the same.
you know,
This is the
quarterback.
story that everyone always goes down with every quarterback. If Patrick Mahomes was drafted by the Washington Commanders, would
Yeah.
Mahomes have? What would have come of Patrick Mahomes' career?
But if the Bears do what you want, Brent, and Caleb Williams goes somewhere else, and Caleb Williams turns out to be a star, everyone's firing in Chicago. Everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody's
and
fired.
and they take him, and then he turns out to be Jamarcus Russell
They're also
Jr., like
fired?
I've been saying for months.
Oh my
then
God. I think Brent might be the only person in America
he-
that thinks that Caleb Williams is going to be Jamarcus Russell
Hey,
Jr.
I remember me and Hartman told everyone that Zion wasn't going to be the next Michael Jordan, and everyone's like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Zion's so amazing. And Zion hasn't lived up to the hype that he's had. So, it wouldn't be the first time that I've said that, someone's overhyped and he's not going to live up to it. And I was right.
Zion's averaging 22, 6, and 5 this
But
year.
he is kind of
Yeah, and he
quasi-relevant,
also
right?
doesn't play almost half the year because he's always hurt.
Has he ever been in the playoffs?
No.
Playing?
Maybe play in.
Yeah. All right. On the other side, Jim's going to fix the Padres with a blockbuster move. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Jim's going to fix the Padres with a blockbuster move. Also, later this hour, your chance to win tickets to see Shen Yun at the San Diego Civic Theater next Friday night, a week from today during Trainwreck Radio. Jim fixes the Padres next. All right, Novo Brazil Mission Valley now open. Grand opening today. Aztec watch party tomorrow for the Aztecs and the Lobos, 11 a.m. Get there early. It'll be open by 10 a.m. Aztec watch party from their brand new location. I saw earlier this week and today everything on social media. This looks like a spectacular sports bar. The brand new Novo Brazil in Mission Valley. Again, an Aztec watch party going on this weekend. You can support San Diego State by picking up their brand new Aztecs Raspberry Kombucha. In fact, a percentage of sales from that product goes to the Mesa Foundation Collective, which supports San Diego State men's and women's basketball. That flavor was taste tested by Lamont Butler, Jaden Ledee, Micah Parrish, and other Aztecs. It's now available at all of their locations. This brand new Mission Valley spot, open now, seats 350 people. It has a full bar menu with 60 taps of Novo Brazil beer, Nova Kombucha, including the Aztecs Raspberry Kombucha. They have seltzers. They have great food at all of their 5 area locations here in San Diego. Sandwiches, tacos, burgers, empanadas, appetizers, Brazilian-inspired entrees. We hope to see you tomorrow morning over at the brand new Novo Brazil Brewing, Mission Valley, for the Aztecs game at 11 a.m. For more information, visit novobrew.com. That's novobrew.com.
All right, this update's brought to you by Indeed.com. We'll start in college football. The news of the day. Alabama has found their head coach already. Kalen DeBoer, former head coach at Washington, will replace Nick Saban there at Alabama. Aztecs back in action tomorrow afternoon, or start in the morning, but it'll go into the afternoon at New Mexico at the Pit. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And the NFL Super Wild Card Weekend, we have a couple games here that you can listen to on the radio. First up, Cowboys, they take on the Packers on Sunday afternoon, followed by the Rams taking on the Lions. Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high. You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tools let you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit today.
All right, do not text us about Aaron's bachelorette party to 70470. Start it with team. All right, don't text us about the bachelorette party to 70470. Start it with team, like a number of you have been doing over the last 90 minutes.
Yeah. Don't do that. No.
Don't do that.
No, I've gotten
no text.
So I've gotten 2 videos and a picture from her.
A picture?
Yeah, a picture.
Would you like to tell us about the picture?
She is standing by the pool wearing a sachet. Is that what it's called?
What is that?
A sash?
What?
What's it called?
It's a sash.
A sash?
Sachet.
I don't know why.
It's not a sachet. It's a sash.
What's a sash?
It's
like if you Miss America has
Gotcha.
a thing that says
Gotcha.
Miss
Gotcha.
Idaho or whatever. It's just, that's
Does it
what a
say
sash
Miss
is.
Idaho?
Yeah. No, it does not say that, John.
I just meant because he said it.
It says bride to be, and she's wearing a bucket hat that says bride on it.
Bucket hat.
There you go.
That's Aaron.
That's Aaron.
Eh, it could be worse. Usually at bachelorette parties, everything's shaped like a certain organ. So she got off light on that note.
Like a sausage?
Yes, like a sausage, Jim.
All right, this is a good segue to Jim's blockbuster trade idea for the Padres, for them to what? To win in 2024. You teased this 90 minutes ago. I forget what you said.
So John Heyman today.
Oh, this is John Heyman.
Yeah, it's not me.
Okay. Right. We shouldn't be surprised. Okay.
It's not me.
Okay.
But of course, we're taking it. We're going to run with it.
Okay.
But arbitration cases happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Saw all these numbers come out. And John Heyman today is reporting that the Marlins may be interested in potentially dealing Luis Ariz.
I saw that.
And Luis Ariz is played second base, is an all-star last year, batting champion.
Yep.
He has 2 years left of control this year and next year. He's an unrestricted free agent in 2026. This is the type of player that would solve a lot of their problems. Okay. First off, I think he would fit perfectly here in San Diego. He's not a power guy by any means necessary. He's an average guy that this team, but I mean
Not an
average
guy. He hits for
batting average. He hits for average. He's a guy that I think would excel here because we know what Petco Park is. Marine layer. We know it's hard to hit at nighttime here, especially the starts of the season, the fall. It's a weird time at Petco Park at the start of the year, and it's hard to hit home runs there. So I think he's the type of guy that would fit perfectly here in San Diego. I think he would fill needs. Now, he did play first base with the Twins, 65 games in 2022. He's played first base. He played mostly second base last year for the Marlins, but he's dabbled in first base, played a couple games here and there at third base. If you want to take him and move him to first, or you want to keep Jake Cronenworth at first and have Ha-Seong Kim play third and Luis Ariz at second while Manny's recovering from his injury, be at the DH, I think it would give him a lot of versatility. And he's an all-star player, and he's really freaking good.
Okay, 2 questions.
How's it get done?
Well, right. He was already traded for, he was traded a year ago from the Twins after hitting whatever he hit, 3-something. Now he's coming off an absolute career year. I mean, he hit 350.
His arbitration number was
how much is he going to make?
A little under $12 million.
Okay, so there's that, which is significant from the Padres. Now, you know what? The issue here is because, he's under control for 3 years, by the way. 4, 5, 6. He's got 24,
I thought he was
25.
an unrestricted free agent after the 2025 season.
Correct. So he's got 2 more arbitration years. But are you going to run into a situation like Juan Soto light? You're going to pay him 12, then you're going to pay him 20 for a guy that That's what happens in arbitration. Soto went from 20 to 31.
Mhm.
So you're going to pay him from 12 and 24 to, by the way, regression to the mean. He's not going to have an 860 OPS. He's not going to hit 354.
But
I've watched this story play out.
Also, look at his career numbers. He's a
very good hitter.
Very good hitter.
Very good hitter. But I'm going to give him $32 million over the next 2 years. $12 million now, $20 next year.
You think he's going to make $20 million in arbitration?
19, whatever it's going to be. Yeah, because he went from 6 to 12, Jim. He made 6 last year.
Okay.
So, yes, that's what he's going to get if he hits. And if he doesn't hit, he's going to get 18.
Look, I want a sure thing here, okay? I'm not trying to just, move off of Jackson Merrill right now before even seeing what Jackson Merrill is.
Oh, but you're going to throw that name out there.
But I am on the side of like they have a window here. They have a specific window, and I'm not saying it would only take Jackson Merrill to get this deal done. Maybe it would. Maybe the only way that a deal for Luis Arraez would happen with the Marlins, if the Marlins are even going to potentially trade him, is it has to involve Jackson Merrill. I don't know that. I'm assuming that it would take a very high level prospect to probably get this done because you have multiple years of control with Arraez, and he's an all-star player and he's really freaking good.
So last year it took 2 top 10 prospects and a frontline starter in Pablo Lopez
to get Arraez. Yeah.
That's what happened. And then he outperformed last year. So you would assume it would cost something comparable.
Well, less years for control. It was 3 years of control. Now it's only 2.
So 2 years.
And the price tag's going to go up.
Yep.
Well, you're also losing Ha-Seong Kim most likely after this season, correct? So you have a replacement for Ha-Seong Kim after this season. You have somebody for multiple years of control. Michael King only has 2 years of control. All right. He was the, main piece of the Juan Soto deal.
Right.
Now, Drew Thorpe, obviously, if he turns out to be something, he's going to maybe be better than Michael King. I don't know. But the years of control for him are way more than Michael King. But I just think that they need to, and why I say this is that I think a blockbuster type of move, maybe not to the extent of a Juan Soto or a Blake Snell or something, but to get a quality major league player in here, they have to do you cannot go into the season without making at least one significant move, I feel like, before the start of spring training.
I got a better trade with the same team, and we talked about it with Mike Farron. It's Jesus Luzardo. It actually addresses a real area of need where Arraez kind of does. Everyone can use a hitter that hits for a high average. He's been a batting champ multiple times. Jesus Luzardo is under control for the next 3 seasons, had a 3.5 ERA last year, slots in towards the front of your rotation for the next 3 years. That's a real need, and the Marlins have an interest in potentially moving him.
That would also probably cost more.
Potentially, but it also addresses potentially more of a need. And here's the thing. A year ago, he made $2.4 million. What did he get in arbitration? I assume that's already out. So let's say he goes from 2.4 to 5. So he's making $5 million. You can slot him into your rotation. He's on the market. Both are going to cost you. I'm not saying both will cost you an arm and a leg, but both are costly. If I could take one over the other, I'm taking Luzardo over Arraez.
And now we're back at square one. We're right back to the point where I think people were pushing back a lot this past offseason was that, hey, we have all this talent in this system, and every time this talent is about to get to the big leagues, we trade them away.
But you just said they have to do something.
I know, and that's what I've always believed is you're a prospect and you're suspect until proven otherwise. This team, I don't feel like has time to wait. I'm not saying unload the farm system for like a Juan Soto trade. I'm not saying that. I don't think trading away your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 prospects, top rated prospects, is a good idea. But we've seen the rankings for their system of late. It's pretty damn good. They have a lot of top 100 prospects in their system. I think they're number 1 in baseball as far as top 100 prospects in their system. You're telling me you can't use some of your capital and some of your prospects to improve this team in a kind of significant way?
I'm not
without
saying
trading
that.
away Ethan Salas and Jackson Merrill.
I'm not saying that, but you're running into another issue on the other side, which is they traded Soto because he makes a lot of money. So we've said this offseason, both me and you, correct me if I'm wrong, that they won't acquire any player at the $10 million per year threshold. And Arraez is already over that, and he's owed more than that in 2025. So you're giving up 2 things, capital in your system and taking on more salary than you even have. If you got a rise tomorrow, it would be a celebrated win. I'd celebrate it as well. You're done, money-wise. Financially, you're now completely done.
You don't think that's enough of an upgrade that
Well,
they need
but you
in that lineup?
But you said 2 outfielders
I know.
and a starting pitcher, and you just got an infielder.
So what would you rather have? Them go out and sign 2 guys to like Jerkson Profar and CJ Crone. All right. Both equal $12 million.
Right.
Or do you want Luis Ariz for that much?
I would prefer, obviously, a rise in that scenario. But the issue, it's just like we've been talking about, like Preller put them in this position, arguably. So if they don't have the money, then they don't have the money, regardless of who the player is. Example A being Juan Soto. If they didn't have the money, then they traded Juan Soto.
Well, we know they have that much money to make it happen. It's just then, what are you going to do around that? I just think that with Luis Ariz, he's exactly what they need. Exactly what they need. And when you're going to lose Ha-Seong Kim, and by the way, if you got Luis Ariz, who says they don't try to take Ha-Seong Kim and move him for pieces as well? And then then you're thinking to yourself, all right, and this is just thinking with your head, not your heart, because I know that a lot of people will not want to trade Ha-Seong Kim, and I'm one of them. But thinking with your head, you have 1 year left with Ha-Seong Kim. He's not going to resign here because he's probably going to ask for around $150 million if he puts up the same season this year that he did last year. Ariz fills that gap, fills that hole if you happen to move off of Ha-Seong Kim. He's under control for 2 seasons, okay? And he's going to slot in that money, the money that Ha-Seong Kim would make next year. So you're not like adding on to the added on payroll.
So 2 years for Ariz to trade 1 year of Kim, take on a little additional salary, plus get rid of potentially 2 other players in your system.
It's a lot. I understand that. It's a lot.
No, I mean, I'm not saying he's not a very good hitter. He is. Is he ever going to be the hitter he was last year again? He's been a great hitter throughout the course of his career. He really has been, but you're buying high.
No, I understand. I understand. And that's why Preller's the GM and I'm not. But at the same time, it's really hard to sit here on January 12th and look at this team right now and be honest with yourself and say, yeah, they've improved and they're going to be good this year, because I'm looking what you're looking at.
Yep.
And it's a lot of holes, and these aren't little holes. These are massive holes.
Go get Jesus Luzardo and we'll talk.
Go get back Juan Soto.
Exactly. All right. Call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see Shen Yun at the San Diego Civic Theater next Friday night. We're told it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You have to see it. They have breathtaking dance and music. Shen Yun, a perfect date night. The number to call, 877-767-4760. Now, the first 2 callers will be contestants for trivia. It's Trainwreck Radio. Again, Shen Yun tickets, San Diego Civic Theater next Friday night. This is a perfect date night. They are free. First 2 callers will be our contestants. 877-767-4760. Trainwreck Radio next. All right, were you forced into a nosebleed mortgage rate within the past year? If so, Loan Pronto is here to rescue you. Hey, guys, it's Schaefer. Listen, if your mortgage rate is over 7, you're going to be in heaven with Loan Pronto's zero-cost refi. You can cut your house payment by hundreds of dollars and even do it with 0 closing costs and no appraisal. Rates have plummeted to the lowest point they've been in nearly a year, 12 months. It's time to say goodbye to that bad loan you got stuck with. Loan Pronto's got APRs with fixed rates right now in the 5s. So don't live with that record high a day longer. You can lock in a lower rate now with virtually no paperwork or cost involved. Call now and see how much lower you can get your house payment. Refi now, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. You can call for a free 30-second quote. That's right. It's a 30-second quote. Here's the number to call. You can jot it down or put it in your phone. 619-207-4336 or visit loanpronto.com. Here's the number again. 619-207-4336. One more time. 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval. All right, the Caleb, or what's his name? Kalen or Caleb? Kalen DeBoer.
Kalen DeBoer.
that you've been talking about for the last 90 minutes with your updates. It is officially official. Alabama announced it 10 minutes ago. He is the next head coach of the Crimson Tide. As long as he wins every game he ever coaches, everything will be fine. If he just wins every game he ever coaches, he'll be very well received.
How many games did Nick Saban lose in his career there at Alabama? Like 25?
His first year, he went 7-5, lost to Louisiana Lafayette or Louisiana Monroe at home. Then they didn't lose again for like 10 years.
Hold on. I got to put this. I had it.
I mean, it was ridiculous. By the way, their first conference game next year, Alabama at Georgia.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Should be a really good game.
So here we go. The last.
Yeah, when was the last time they lost 2 games in a year?
Last 16 years at
A couple
Alabama.
years ago they did.
Yeah, last 16 years.
Last 16 years,
Never more than 2 losses.
he lost only 3 games, more than 2 games one time
In 16 years.
in 16
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. That's how you win 6 national titles.
That was his worst year by far in the last 16 years. He won the Sugar Bowl, followed by the national championship game, then the 3-loss year, and then he won back-to-back national championships. Oh no, he lost the Sugar Bowl the next 2 years, and then he won the national championship again, and then he went 14-1, lost in the college football playoff, and then he won the championship again the next year.
Hey, real quick, and we'll get to Trainwreck Radio. You know the name Mikey Williams, the like highly thought of basketball recruit who then had like gun charges in San Diego County. He's out of San Ysidro. He had like millions of Instagram followers as like a teenager, like as a 14 or 15-year-old. Well, he initially committed to Memphis, but then they had these gun-related charges in San Diego. And then he was in the transfer portal. He committed today to Central Florida in the Big 12. So Mikey Williams and a San Ysidro, really, I don't know, hyped up prospect. But then again, it looked like his career would be sidetracked because of these weapons charges. He is officially committed to UCF in the Big 12 via the transfer portal. All right now let's get to this.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Joseph and Ed. Joseph, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Go, John.
Okay, Joseph and John.
Okay, that means Ed, you get me, all right?
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's do it, buddy. Brent, what is today's question of the day?
All right, the NFL playoffs kick off tomorrow. A super wild card weekend. This name still sounds
Super
stupid.
wild card weekend.
Yeah.
Today's question: name any of the 11 quarterbacks in NFL history with 30 or more postseason touchdown passes. So there's 11 quarterbacks in NFL history that have thrown at least 30 touchdowns in the postseason. Name them.
All right. I like this question. Ed, you're up first. What is your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
I'm going to go with Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, the GOAT.
30 on the nose.
Just 30.
Probably at the midway mark.
He's like, what, 10th on the list, probably? Joseph, you're up next. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
I'll go with Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers
on the list.
Okay.
Good job. Ed, you're up next. What's your second guess? And you do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. Pretty good guess. He's got to be on the list.
Got to.
Has to be on the
Yes,
list. There we
he
go.
is.
Joseph, you're up next. What's your second guess? And you do have your lifeline still if you want to use it.
I'll go Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. Very good guess on the list. All right. Final round here. Ed, you're up next. What's your last guess? You do have your lifeline still if you want to use it.
Let's try Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes.
30.
Wow.
There we go. Joseph, final guess. You got to get this right to send this thing to overtime. You do have a lifeline still. What are you going to do?
Joe Montana.
Joe
Montana. Joe Montana.
Yes.
On the list.
Okay.
All right. So now we're going to overtime. Brent, give the rules of overtime and the question.
All right, how overtime works is I'm going to ask you a question. When I'm done asking the question, you're going to yell out the name of your partner today, either John or Jim. Don't yell out the answer. Whoever yells out the name of their partner first, you're going to win the game by getting the question right, or you're going to lose the game by getting the question wrong. Do you guys got it?
Yeah.
Okay, today's overtime question. Who won last year's Super Bowl?
John,
I heard John.
All right, Joseph.
the Chiefs.
The Kansas City Chiefs for the win. Wow.
Come on, Ed. You know the answer to that.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes
Maybe
on
Ed
that
just
list.
maybe Ed just like didn't want to win.
He's
It's like you know what?
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime.
Shen Yun.
Once in
Come
a
on.
lifetime, John.
Come on. Who's on this list?
He
Wait,
didn't want to peak too early.
Yeah.
Who else did you think would be on this?
Well, my guess was Patrick Mahomes. I would say, I don't
Not like Steve Young?
Steve Young?
No.
No, he wasn't that.
Terry Bradshaw?
Yes.
Troy
Wow.
Aikman?
No.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm thinking
John Elway?
modern. Yeah, Elway.
No.
Oh,
Marino, no.
Marino.
Yes.
Marino.
yes.
He had 32.
Interesting. With only
All
one
right, give us-
Super Bowl
give us the
appearance.
list.
Yeah.
All right. Obviously, Brady's number one with
Yeah.
88.
This
And then
is good.
Rodgers and Montana were tied with 45. Favre had 44. Peyton Manning had 40. Breeze had 37. Big Ben had 36.
there we go.
Mahomes had
That's cool.
35. Marino had 32. Kurt Warner,
Oh, yeah.
he had 31.
Yeah.
And Bradshaw had 30.
Okay,
even.
that makes sense.
How many does Purdy have?
Like 3.
Okay. All right. Congratulations, Joseph. You've won a pair of tickets to see Shen Yun at the San Diego Civic Theater next Friday. Breathtaking dance and music. Shen Yun's artists tell of a time when divine beings walked upon the earth, leaving behind a culture that inspired generations. See it at least once in your lifetime. All right. On the other side, an interesting apology from Ken Rosenthal following a pretty interesting article from Ken Rosenthal. Plus, Cynthia Freeland gets us ready for Super Wildcard Weekend from the NFL Network at 5:30. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by turn your freaking computer off. Indeed.com will start in college football. It is now official as Alabama has just announced it on their Twitter page. Kalen DeBoer, former coach at Washington, will now be the head coach at Alabama, replacing Nick Saban. Aztecs take on New Mexico. Open your Coke. Open your Coke. Open it. There you go. Good job. Aztecs take on New Mexico tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. tip-off in New Mexico at the Pit. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. The NFL Super Wild Card Weekend. We have a couple games here you can listen to on San Diego Sports. We have the Cowboys taking on the Packers, followed by the Rams taking on the Lions. Temperature is getting low, but demand remaining high. You need Indeed, their all-in-one platform. Helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit today.
Counting down to the end of the day.
Let's go home! Let's go home, ladies and gentlemen!
It's time to get you home.
That's San Diego State, like in a nutshell. Like they don't get the national respect they deserve, and I don't even know if anyone really concerns themselves with it. You know, it's like just win, just keep doing what you're doing, just handle your business, and if they write about you, they write about you, and if not, the world keeps spinning.
Is it affecting Brian Dutcher? Like,
It's affecting me.
Going to bed at night saying, "Man, we only got one mention in that ESPN article."
Probably
mention?
not.
We got one mention in that ESPN article,
And it was about losing to Grand Canyon.
Tomorrow's practice is going to be hell. I'm making them run
We're running.
sprints and liners the entire practice.
Probably not.
Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim. We do have Aztec Hoops for you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific, pregame coverage at 10:30. Cynthia Freeland NFL Weekend gets us ready for Super Duper Wildcard Weekend, which kicks off tomorrow afternoon. Brent, what do you have?
Now, I have to ask you because you opened your Diet Coke during Jim's update,
yeah.
and you didn't drink soda really until
You
last
guys.
year.
Right.
How many Diet Cokes a day do you drink?
Never more than one. I would
Okay.
say on average 2 a week.
Jim might know where I'm going with this because he watches the NBA like I do.
Oh yes,
Barkley told Shaq and those guys like last week or a week ago that he drinks like anywhere from 10 to like 16 Diet Cokes a day.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, it's
Can you
insane.
even
So-
survive?
Well,
no, you
so
can't.
they're like watching him now like he's in AA or something, to where last night they're like, Chuck, what's in your cup? And he's like, water.
Dude,
and
that's crazy.
Kenny took the cup, and they have like a bucket now, the Chuck bucket, to where they'll go and they'll dump it out, and they can
See
see
what's
whether
in
it's
it?
soda.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, man, it's bad enough, Chuck, but you're lying about it too. And he's like, can you even go a day without a Diet Coke? And Chuck's like, no.
Well, now you drink a good amount. Jim drinks a decent amount of soda. I mean, like maybe one a show on average.
On average, yeah,
Maybe.
one a show.
Brent, you don't drink anymore, do you?
I've
Here or
been
there?
drinking Coke Zero every once in
Okay.
a while.
Like I used to when I was younger. I would pound
oh yeah, when I was
soda.
young,
I would. It
I
was
like
a
mainline
problem.
Mountain Dew when I was in high
Dude.
school. That's why I hate it now.
Yeah, I had a like a IV for orange soda just right in my veins.
Literally.
Like literally orange soda was
Oh, that's very good for you.
I was in my
It's a
high
fruit
school
group.
I was in my high school yearbook with like holding an orange soda, and it said Jim can never go a day without an orange soda.
Can you please bring that in?
You're like the guy from Good Burger.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that.
Kinda like some
I'll
orange
try
soda.
to. Yeah,
Did you have any superlatives like most likely to play in the NBA or
no,
most likely to?
no. I finished runner up to prom king. I finished runner up to our high school talent show, Mr. Puma.
Wait, hold on. How many people were at your high school per class?
Probably around 350.
And you finished runner up to prom king?
Yeah.
I need to see this class.
It was so funny. I was in study hall, and they were announcing over the announcements like the finalist for prom king, and for some reason I got nominated.
Was this like some sort of joke, like Carrie, to where they're like just
No,
voting you in as to make fun of you?
No, it wasn't a joke. I don't know. I got nominated, and I was like, okay. And of course, the like nerdy kid got nominated, and he won. But for me,
I thought you said you didn't win.
no, I didn't win.
I'm kidding.
Oh, haha, funny. Where am I going with this?
I have no idea.
Oh, the yearbook thing. Yeah, that was it. There was nothing really like crazy in the yearbook, just besides my orange soda, a fixation.
Can we get an update on this bachelorette party weekend? Aaron, Jim's fiance, is in Scottsdale.
Correct.
They've got their house rented. They got the pool. They've got the hot tub. Don't text us about the bachelorette party. We're not going to read them. 70470 started with team. We'll laugh. 70470 started with team.
We're reading them.
We're reading them.
We just can't read them on
Not
air.
on air. The last update was a couple of videos. You then said she sent a photo.
Correct. No
real updates.
No real updates. I mean,
now, when do you think the last update of the night comes? Like, is it 10 p.m., midnight?
I'm sure whatever they do tonight, she'll send me pictures, and then she'll send me a picture of what she's wearing, and then
will you talk on the phone?
What
tonight?
she's not wearing. I don't.
What?
And we'll probably not talk on the phone. No,
you will not talk on the phone all weekend or just tonight?
Just tonight. I'm sure that she'll probably call me, but I told her, I'm like, look, just go have fun. I'm not like, don't worry about me and Bentley. We're okay. We're having a guys' weekend. It's going to be great. Watching football, literally like every second of the day. Aztecs tomorrow in the morning. It's going to be fantastic. Probably watching a movie tonight.
Now, do you think when you're on your bachelor party, when you're on yours in a month or month and a half, whenever, in Las Vegas?
Mm-hmm.
No, when is it?
It's like the second weekend of March.
Which is like when the Aztecs are in like the Mountain West tournament or like the NCAA tournament.
I asked you.
Yes, and I said I would go, and they're like, "No, you don't want to go.
Well,
no, you don't want to do that."
It's because
I'm
I was
like,
like,
fine,
I was like, bro, we're gonna be playing golf, and
I don't play golf.
You don't play golf, and the only weekend that there is no Aztec basketball, I think it'd be hard for you to tell Kristen, like, hey, by the way, I know this is like the only weekend that the last 2 months that I've had off on Saturday.
This was the classic like invite of like, I'm not really inviting you. Like, I'm trying. Yeah, it's like,
I legitimately invited you.
What was I gonna say? But is she going to be checking in with you constantly when you're on your bachelor party?
No, and I'm not checking in with her.
I
literally haven't texted her. No. I mean, I will obviously be, bro. We text all the time.
Sure,
but she'll send me pictures of things, and I'll send her pictures of things, and like, you know, whenever I go, whatever I do in Vegas, like,
stays there.
No, because we're not gonna go crazy. I always love people like. Oh, I saw this meme of guys saying we're gonna go and we're gonna take over Vegas. Like, bro, you don't think that 5 random dudes in their bachelor party have said those terms and like completely got destroyed by Vegas before?
Right. We took over Vegas. We made a $20 bet.
Yeah.
we won $50.
I won $50 at the poker at the blackjack table.
Okay.
No, I'll text her, but she'll text me. It's fine. Everything's fine. I said have fun.
Fine.
Everything's fine. Those 2 chefs and you know, pool cleaners and whatever else going on.
Again, you don't need to text us. I see the text, but you don't have to text us. 70470 started with team. You don't need to do that.
I haven't even looked at the text line yet.
Now, Jim earlier, within the last 30 minutes, now he didn't, this wasn't original. He stole it from Jon Heyman, but I liked where you went with it. This idea that, hey, the Padres, and by the way, you're not the first person to say it, nor is Jon Heyman, that for them to address their needs, they can't just do it via free agency. They need to maybe do it via trade.
Via trade, for sure.
And Luis Ariz with the Marlins, batting king, back-to-back years, maybe on the market. Jesus Luzardo, good front-tier starter who had a nice year last year with the Marlins, 3 years of control. He may be available as well. And Heyman theorized specific to Ariz. Well, he didn't. Did he mention the Padres specifically, Heyman, or he just said he could be moved?
No, he didn't mention the Padres.
Okay.
He just
did he
said,
mention teams?
No.
Okay.
It just was not a throwaway, but it was one of those like bullet points of the Marlins could be swayed or could eventually move Luis Ariz.
Okay.
Right.
No, I like that. I mean, the idea, who said significant trade or two recently? Was it to, he's Dennis Lin to Darren this week. Said like between now and March 20th to address these needs, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a significant. Like Aaron said that the Padres are not in on Jesus Luzardo. They can help fill Miami's needs, and the Padres could use a mid-tier to frontline starter. There's going to be a trade, Jim. There's a significant one. I'm not saying it's Juan Soto significant, but there'll be a significant trade. You're talking about AJ Preller. He's had like dozens of these over the last 10 years. There's going to be a significant trade coming up. I don't know if it's Ariz, Luzardo, or anywhere in that area. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a real trade in the next month.
Because if there wasn't a significant trade, it doesn't feel like this team has the capability of making a significant signing, correct?
No, not financially.
So then it would have to be only through a significant trade.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no significant trade, I'm sorry. There's a lot of problems with this team, and there will be a lot of question marks, and they're going to literally need to be played. Like, they need to play perfect then and have all of their stars perform if they expect to win maybe just 84 games next year.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't go out and make a significant trade like the one we just talked about earlier about with Luis Ariz.
Now, in all seriousness, I'm kind of half serious, half facetious, but like when Mike Schilt is like putting us on this track and kind of selling this narrative that, hey, we're going to do things differently. There's this Padres way. We're building it, from the system to the major league level. It's about a culture. It's about putting the organization above yourself. Like, can all of this be put together to field a winner regardless of them making a significant move or not? Like, can that actually pay dividends, this path that Mike Schilt is trying to put them on, or is it just fluff and talk and they actually need serviceable major leaguers to actually accomplish the goals he's trying to accomplish?
Who's the best manager in baseball right now, you would say?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. Where would you even give me 3 names? I mean, I think maybe heading into last year, some people would have put Bob Melvin on that list. I don't think they would do that now. I don't think people are turning to Dave Roberts.
Bruce Bochy?
I think Bruce Bochy's right there. Number 1.
If he was managing the A's, do they win the World Series?
No.
Okay. So my point is you need players.
Right. But what about the in-between? If Bochy was managing the San Diego Padres in 2023, would they have had more success?
Yes.
Right.
I think they would.
And they were only 2 games out of a playoffs.
I think that definitely if you have the talent and you have the right guy to elevate and help that, then yeah, I think that's correct.
Right.
Maybe Mike Schilt can do that just with his attitude and his message and the things that he's preaching that he wants his team to do. And it seems like he really cares. Like that's one thing that I really appreciate about Mike Schilt.
Okay.
It seems like he just gives a crap. Like
Okay.
he cares a lot. And a lot of times in just life, just giving a damn is half the battle. Like just caring about something is something a lot of people just don't do. They just go through the motions or
True,
they're
but
there.
that's not. But Melvin cared.
No, I know he cared, but I think Mike Schilt cares in a different way. I think his thing is, this is my second chance. This is something that I didn't think I was going to be afforded after the Cardinal situation.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably like more hunger there. There's more wanting to be really good and wanting to do all the details. Maybe if you're Bob Melvin, while you're already probably checked out because you can't stand Preller and vice versa, maybe you don't do the little things. Maybe you don't, tell people to do certain things or whatever the case may be. Maybe Mike Schilt is going to take care of all the little things. Maybe Mike Schilt is going to be the guy that, changes things around here for the long term. But you also need like the players as well. You need to have talent in order for Mike Schilt to work too.
Like he had Yachty, I mean, towards the end, but it's Yachty Molina. He had Goldschmidt in his prime. He had he had Arenado. You know what I mean? Like he had. Now this team's got that too with the Machados and the Bogarts and the Tatises. But like he had legitimate talent in St. Louis, and he won at a good clip. He won 90 games a couple times. So he had a level of success. There's no question about it. Lost to the Padres that one year in the postseason, right? Didn't he? Yeah, in 2020 they lost to the Padres. Yeah. But to your point, there's some chicken egg there. His rosters in St. Louis, correct me if I'm wrong, were either comparable. I think most people would say they were better. I think most people would tell you his Cardinals rosters were better than this Padres roster right now.
No doubt about it.
Right.
Like not even.
No, this Padres roster's top heavy. They've got a future Hall of Famer or two on the team.
Yeah, but
But so did St. Louis. Yachty, Goldschmidt, Arenado.
They have no left fielder though. They have no center fielder.
Right.
They have no DH.
That's what I'm saying. But the Schilt St. Louis teams were probably a lot completer. I don't know if it's a word.
They need talent, John. They need talent. They need major league ready guys. I love the idea that potentially this organization is going to put an emphasis on actually developing and having players in their system stay with this team and be good at the major league level. But also you're in a situation where you can't wait. You're not afforded a couple years here. It's just not the case. If you don't win next year,
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Then Preller's gone, and probably so is Mike Schilt.
So Will Holder,
yes,
popular media personality.
Hi, Will.
Hey, Will. who is a huge Padres fan, very active on social media, put out a tweet today, basically along the lines of, I think Preller's got 2 years to get this thing done. And I immediately wrote back, I'm like, no, I think he's got 1 year to get this done. And we went back and forth. I'm like, the reason I say it, there's a number of reasons I say it. And he's like, well, I feel like Schilt and Preller are attached to the hip, so I would give him more than 1 year. I'm like, no, but the 2-year deal for Schilt tells me a lot.
Yeah.
It tells me he's only guaranteed 1 year because teams will part with a manager
Mhm.
with 1 year remaining, maybe not 2 or 3. So I kind of agree that they are tied at the hip because if you bring in a new GM, he likely brings in a new manager. But the 2-year deal doesn't scream that they're tied at the hip long term with Mike Schilt. I don't see how you get 2025, no matter the spin zone you go through, if you don't make the postseason in 2024. Sorry, I just don't. The excuses run dry when you miss the postseason 3 out of 4 years.
Oh yes, the excuses are gone.
Already dry.
They're very dry. It's a Sahara Desert.
Right.
You need to win, and the only way you do that is acquiring or signing or getting major league talent in here. Because if you go into the season and you truly are going to say to this or to the fan base,
Mm-hmm.
we're going young this year because of financial issues,
Mm-hmm.
reasons, and we're going to give these guys a chance. To me, I would say good luck. I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, in terms of wins and losses, probably not. Could you develop a player or two? Maybe. Could you set a player or two back? Yeah, potentially as well.
We heard from Kyle Glazer, who knows more about baseball than both of us and studies minor leagues more than anybody that I know. If they decide to use Jackson Merrill in a different position other than shortstop or second base this upcoming season, he said it, not me, that he would need at least one full season in the minors to be acclimated to that new position.
Right, which may be a good idea to give him a season in the minors in a new position.
I'm for it,
Yeah.
honestly. Like I rather have guys up a year too late, and by late I
and
mean
he wouldn't even be late, right?
yeah. And I don't by late I mean kind of like, oh man, we should have brought him up sooner type of thing. Than having a guy brought up too soon and then completely wet the bed because they're not ready for the big leagues.
Yes, I would agree with that. Like, I think what Will was trying to say, and I understand the reasoning here. I think what he was trying to say is, hey, if in 2024 we develop our system further and some of those players pay dividends and you can kind of see the thing actually turn over and you can see the promise, then shouldn't he be the guy to get 2025? That's understandable on its face, other than the fact that he's been here 10 years.
Right.
So again, if it's a second year GM, are you giving him a third year? Yeah, absolutely. In that scenario, are you giving a 10th year GM an 11th year? Because by the end, you could kind of see some semblance of what they're putting together. It's cliche. To me, it's probably a bridge too far. And I think if you don't win in 2024, it's cut and dry stuff that you're going to have to appease your fan base that has been so loyal. You're going to have to make a change.
I just don't think that they can go into spring training whenever they hold their spring training press conference
This year.
just this year to start the season, to start, the kickoff to the Padres season, right? And they still haven't filled those needs. Like, you can't tell me to my face that you believe that this team can win with
The way it is now.
the way it is now. I'm sorry, you can't. I'm not stupid. Don't don't disrespect my intelligence as far as knowing. Okay, you don't have a left fielder, you don't have a center fielder, but you're going to move guys in your system that aren't center fielders or left fielders and put them there because you want to. That's how you're going to fill your needs. Like, you need to have actual major league talent, because if you don't, the questions just get bigger and bigger. And Jacob Marcy for a full year in center field, it's platooning time with Jose Azocar.
Right.
If you signed Jerkson Profar to play left field, I don't know, man.
So you're saying by first game of spring training, February 22nd, remember they opened back-to-back Dodgers in spring training, not just regular season.
Must-win games?
That if you don't have a complete roster, and if you lose the games in both Peoria and Glendale, you're going to be looking at AJ. And saying, hey, that roster completed.
No,
and by the way, he does have, but to your point, I mean, it's February 22nd, it's January 12th. I mean, there's still a little bit of time here, even though, yeah, with each passing day, sure, but there's a little bit of time.
Well, also, you got to remember their season is accelerated because they have games in March.
Yep. They
and
do. Early March 20th.
2 weeks before the regular season starts for everyone else, right?
8 days.
Okay, so a
Yep.
week.
Yep.
But it's gonna be crazy because they're probably gonna be in Seoul for at least what 3-4 days before the
Yeah,
games.
I think I read somewhere that the total trip is in the neighborhood of about a week.
Okay, so a week in
But that
Korea,
includes 2 games and maybe a day of travel back. Yeah, they're probably there 3 or 4 days before the games.
and then they open up at home against the
They'll have
Giants.
spring training games between. They'll come back, they'll play multiple spring training games, and then play the Giants in
Dude,
the regular season. Yeah, it's a intense 2 weeks.
Acclimating
Yeah,
to all of those
Yeah,
situations is
yeah.
going to be
It's a lot.
crazy.
On both teams, truthfully. The
Yeah.
Dodgers will have something comparable.
For
Yeah,
sure. The Padres don't have any wiggle room. They have
Right.
no margin for error, I
Right.
believe, at this point in time.
Yeah.
The Dodgers have a massive,
Absolutely.
massive gap as far as
Yeah.
Margin for error goes.
Yep.
So the Padres, they can't afford that. And so if you don't make a significant move, if you
I know.
don't make a trade, if you
It's coming.
don't make a trade to sign a player, like I don't know, man.
It's coming.
It's getting more worrisome every single day.
All right, here's the day that they report San Diego, again with that March 20th game. Here's the day they report. To be announced, according to this thing I just
Also,
pulled.
question I put out there. Are they having a fan fest this year?
It would typically be in late January.
Because I got a notification on my Facebook. They've had it. They'd never have
Yeah.
a set day,
Right.
but I got a notification the other day that like, oh, this time 2 or 3 years ago was Fan Fest,
February 4th last year.
and then in 2020, before the pandemic, was in January, early January, when they announced the brown
Right.
jerseys.
February 4th, though, would still be how many? 3 weeks from now. So, yeah. I mean, I'd be surprised if they didn't have it. They drew 3.2 million fans last year. They got recognizable players left and right, even with their core.
Well, it's going to take a long time to get that ballpark back to
From the rodeo.
from the rodeo. Do you see that thing right now?
I know. Yeah, it looks like the rodeo.
No, have you seen like a picture of it?
I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have. And it's Snapdragon's dirt show this week, Monster Jam. I'm going Sunday with my son. Sent to Monster Truck. I'm not going to the rodeo.
You're going to be in a monster truck? Did you ever do a
Yes,
monster truck?
I am.
show? Like, would you ever drive a monster truck?
I'm in the wrap-up show truck.
Which one?
No, I would never drive. Are you kidding? Those things are constantly flipping over and crushing cars and getting dirty.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like loud and exhaust.
You
I'll
cou-
go.
You couldn't
I'll
handle
watch.
you couldn't handle the wheel though.
I can handle the wheel. Come on. I drive a what do I
Camry?
drive? Volkswagen. I drive a Jetta. Look at me. I'm Mr. Monster
You do
Truck.
know that the monster trucks have independent steering to where like you have to steer the front and the back separately?
I don't know that. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, not on Monster Truck or Rodeo, but she'll get us ready for Super Wildcard Weekend. What kind of factor is the weather this weekend in the postseason? Cynthia Freeland, analytics expert, NFL Network, joins us next. All right, hey guys, it's Schaefer. I've been telling you about my friends in the college area, Windmill Farms, family owned and operated. Trevor and his family, they've been in the grocery business for over 20 years, into their third decade. It's your perfect spot during your work week for lunch. Get ready for your weekends and your game day needs with all your grocery needs over at Windmill Farms. But again, quick and easy lunch that's affordable and healthy. You got to go to Windmill Farms, folks. You really do. Easy in and out parking. 8 sandwiches free with a sandwich card. Everything you could possibly want at their deli. Affordable, fresh, high quality ingredients. So get over there during your work week. And then again on the weekends, whatever you need, they've got, including the farm fresh produce and meats that's organic. Amazing beer selection, craft beer, kombucha, and much, much more. And they're centrally located in the college area, right across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. And you don't even have to live or work near Del Cerro to take advantage, because Windmill Farms is on Instacart, which means you can have groceries delivered directly to your doorstep. There's nothing easier or simpler than that. Also, they support San Diego businesses, Harris Ranch, Mr. G Salsa, and many, many more. They've got weekly specials available as well online. You can find them on social media and also online at windmillfarmsmarket.com. Again, that's windmillfarmsmarket.com. Get ready for your weekend, Super Wildcard weekend at Windmill Farms by shopping local and shopping at Windmill Farms.
All right, this update is brought to you by Indeed.com. College football news of the day. It is now official. Kalen DeBoer is next head coach at Alabama, replacing Nick Saban after his retirement. Aztecs take on New Mexico tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. tip-off at New Mexico at the Pit. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And Super Wild Card Weekend in the NFL starts tomorrow. We have a couple games you can listen to on Sunday, starting in the afternoon with Cowboys taking on the Packers, followed by the Rams and the Lions. Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high. You need Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tools let you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit today.
All right, Jim just mentioned it. It is always great to connect with Cynthia Freeland. NFL Network Super Wildcard Weekend is here. She's NFL Network's analytics expert. You can catch her on NFL Network's NFL Game Day morning, Sunday starting at 6 a.m. So, Cynthia, welcome back to Jon and Jim here, San Diego Sports 760. We always appreciate it. You know, it's
Absolutely.
It's good to be, as you know, you're based in Southern California, Cynthia, right?
I am.
Okay, so you
A
know
little
it's
north of you, but still Southern California.
and it's good to be in Southern California when you look at the weather this weekend. I'm looking right now, Chiefs Dolphins game time -3, but with the wind chill -30. I'm looking at Steelers Bills. I'm looking at the stadium with the snow and snow forecasted and a high of like 20 degrees or whatever it is. Here's my question, I guess. What factor does weather play in results?
It's actually a pretty big factor. You have probably a lot of surfers that listen to your broadcast, and they take and modify wetsuits and like cut out like really interesting, like it kind of looks like underwear, long underwear you wear when you're skiing, but it's all with wetsuits. So that's just kind of a fun like behind the scenes thing.
Interesting.
It's mostly impactful for the pass game, because when the ball becomes that hard, the dynamics of catching it become considerably harder, and especially if you got a guy like Patrick Mahomes who can throw the ball up to 60 miles per hour. So the drops for Kansas City, that is something to keep an eye on, because now you're throwing something that's like incredible hard. And
Oh, we lost you there.
We lost you for a second. Cynthia, you still with us?
yep, I am. I'm sorry
Okay.
about that. Can you hear me now?
We're
We got
all
you.
good. Cynthia, biggest storyline for you this weekend, where would you go?
Oof. I'm kind of looking at this like the team and the Texans, that they really outkicked their coverage this year. No one thought after picking second and third in the draft that they would be hosting a postseason game, let alone maybe even make the playoffs for most people, right? So that's really cool. This rematch, obviously, we saw Joe Flacco and Amari Cooper just light them up in that Week 16 matchup. But I think in this one, it'll look a little bit different with CJ Stroud. I don't even know if he kind of has enough. Like, I don't even know if he knows how important this is, meaning like that could be good for him, right? He won't psych himself out so much. And we know they like to take risks. I mean, that 75-yarder to Nico Collins to start the game last week was a very, that was a gutsy start to the game.
Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So you look at these games talking about storylines, but like, where's the pressure? Like, where's the most pressure lie this weekend?
Is this going to sound strange, but I think the Monday night game has a lot of pressure. The Eagles have slid into the postseason. I mean, losing 5 of 6, not looking good. Their defense is giving up so many yards and not even pressuring quarterbacks at the same rate that we saw at the start of the season. I mean, it's gone down like 5 or 6 percentage points since Matt Patricia took over for Sean Desai. So that seems weird. And also, like, the NFC South, like, it felt like no one wanted to win that division. So if the Eagles don't go in there and win that game, I think that coach could be looking at a very interesting offseason. I think that's a high-risk situation.
For this weekend, it's a little different, because we have the extra wild card, and that got implemented a couple of years ago. So there's only 2 teams that don't play. It used to be 4. But could you see any teams this weekend, or what teams do you see this weekend that potentially could make it to the Super Bowl?
It's funny because, like, in the NFC, it's really hard to imagine. Like, if you look at the projections for the Niners making it to the Super Bowl, they're twice as high as the next closest team, which is obviously the Cowboys with their home schedule and their performances at home. But AFC, the difference between the Ravens, Bills, and Chiefs is actually within 16 percentage points. So it's not as huge of an advantage, mostly because all of those have really great experience playing in cold weather situations. So it's not as much of a problem for them to go to each other's neck of the woods or to play in Baltimore. So to me, if you got the 1 game sample size and you got a weird like knockoff of the Cowboys, you could really open the door for someone who we weren't expecting potentially. Because I think it's very hard for Rams and Niners. They play each other very strong. We saw it last week. I know it wasn't starters playing, but they know each other so well into the same type of offense. So the McVay-Shanahan tree playing each other is always most difficult.
Did you make a Super Bowl pick yet, or have you made a Super Bowl pick yet? And if you have, what is your pick?
Yeah, I have Bills and Niners matching up in the Super Bowl. And I actually think the Bills are, because they're the team that's allowed the fewest yards after the catch this season, I actually think, again, we have to put an asterisk there because I need Rasul Douglas to be playing for this to be true. I think Bills narrowly edge out the Niners.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Jim's a big Niners fan. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network.
Sorry, at least you get to go.
Yay!
It's true. Yeah, to go to the Super Bowl, that's true.
Yeah, second place. Yes.
I mean, from like just thinking about Baltimore as we look ahead, obviously to next weekend. I mean, they were so dominant in the regular season. We've seen that play out before. Where has it gone wrong for them previously with Lamar Jackson in the postseason, and how do they rectify that?
I mean, this is interesting because, you know, if you look at the games where they've been so dominant, it's been the scripted plays, the first 25 plays. They've just been so exceptional with them that they've gotten off to this horrendously difficult to overcome, you know, like the Lions game, for example, stands out. They're just clobbering teams. Same thing with the Dolphins. It's curious to see what would happen if they had to really play from behind, especially given the fact that, you know, look, their O-line was kind of banged up in a couple of games this season. We saw that against the Browns, some areas where the left tackle position was in and out. He's rotating in and out every single snap. So that could be a tough one if they start to, you know, if that O-line isn't healthier and this week off doesn't really help them in that regard.
Bill Belichick, I don't know if he's going to just go off into the sunset. It kind of feels like he wants to coach next season, or maybe just, you know, after next season, whatever the case may be. What's the best fit for Bill Belichick if he decides he just does want to coach next year?
You know, it's funny. I feel like I'm kind of like a take the lowest hanging fruit situation. And I'm looking at the opportunity. Like, Atlanta's defense has played so much better this season. You're also, you know, able to bring in a staff, like probably bring in some of your old friends, because I believe Arthur Blank would roll out the red carpet for that. I think you've got a GM in Terry Fontenot that would be very willing to take the opportunity to learn from Bill in terms of how to create the right synergies between your players and what you see on the field. So I don't know. I think Atlanta, and they can then pick a quarterback, or perhaps get one of the quarterbacks like, oh, maybe wouldn't it be kind of fun to see like Kirk Cousins down there?
Yeah, they have options. To tell you that, they do have options.
Do you see Atlanta, Cynthia, as the best vacancy in general when you look around the NFL? Like, what's the best job, or who's best position?
See, my answer here would be more of a gambler, because if I'm honest, like, I'm going where like I have some knowns that I don't have to pick. I think like it's a very sexy job to take the Chargers job, right? Now the cap situation is not the most ideal, but we've seen worse cap situations and people can figure it out. When you have the type of roster that they have, it's like, and you have Justin Herbert, and you have, you know, you have a lot of knowns, and your O-line will get healthier this offseason. So I don't know. I feel like Derwin James, that's like a really good call right there. I think that's probably the one. But again, then I'd also like go out in a blaze of glory too, because like, hey, I'm like, take a big swing. I could strike out, or I could hit a home run, not be safe.
Exactly.
Yep.
This has got a hypothetical for you before we let you go, Cynthia. Jim Harbaugh, he is definitely out there. I mean, it's not been known if he's going to actually return to Michigan, but let's just say he goes to the NFL. And we just talked about Bill Belichick. He's out there, but he's older, and he's kind of maybe lost his fastball the last couple of years. Who would you rather have you coach your team, Jim Harbaugh or Bill Belichick?
So you must know I am from the state of Michigan.
Yes.
So I'm a more of a go blue type of girl. However, my answer would be Bill Belichick, mostly because if you look at some of the things that have been happening in college, I got a chance last year to do the East West Shrine Bowl, and Bill Belichick's whole staff was coaching one of the teams. And none of these guys like know how to take a snap from under center, the quarterbacks that are coming out.
Right. Yeah.
And those are the types of things where like these small little things. Jim's going to need a little bit more time. I want to win right away. Like if I'm an owner, I'm like, I'm going to win right now before whatever. Like, and Arthur Blank to me would be a better fit for that. So I don't know. I would pick Bill and learn from his expertise.
Would you sit at Arrowhead for free? Like if would you would you need money to sit there tomorrow night, Chiefs Dolphins, just in the stands with some friends or family, just sit there in the upper deck? Would you do that or not?
You know what? I would absolutely do that, and I'll do you one better. I would also go. They've been asking people to help shovel at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo. I would also take my $20 free food and help shovel too, because it's one game. We can go outside for one game.
Well, you grew up in the cold, so I'm
Right.
assuming you've been into the cold weather games, right?
Yeah, I was in Chicago for a long time. I went to business school there, so I've been to a number of games in Chicago. I haven't been to Green Bay yet, but Chicago, yes.
We've spent like every break today during the show. Like it was cold this morning. Like, it was 49 this morning.
Here,
It's like
yeah.
62 outside.
I still think it's cold here. Like I'll wear a winter jacket. It just means I already own the clothing necessary to go to these cold games. It doesn't mean I want to sit through them, but
Yeah.
I would do it for this.
Right.
Cynthia, we always appreciate it. Again, Cynthia Freeland with the NFL Network. Again, an analytics expert. You can catch her on NFL Network's NFL Game Day morning. We always appreciate it, Cynthia. Enjoy the games this weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And stay warm,
Yes.
Yeah, we'll try.
We will. We'll stay
try.
warm here.
We'll put a
Stay
sweatshirt
warm in
on.
LA. All right. Again, Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network. Jim's back page is on the other side. All right, Jim's back page is on the other side, plus an update from Aaron's bachelorette party next. All right, so Jim just asked me off air because I said, "Hey, what basketball games are on tonight?" And then I'm like, "Oh, I'm scrolling through Boise State, Nevada," and I got all excited. And I was like, telling Jim, like, "Forget about Aaron's bachelorette party. Turn off your phone and just watch that, and you're good."
No, I'm okay.
You're not going to do that.
No.
What are you going to watch more Roman Reigns highlights or whoever that guy is?
Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, the head of the table, the tribal chief. What's wrong with you?
Do we have an update from Scottsdale?
We do.
Okay, from Aaron's bachelorette party.
So I got a text.
We need a full Tuesday update, by the way. On the other side of the weekend.
know. Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
So Claire, her maid of honor,
Right,
best friend,
mm-hmm.
Sent me a picture of Aaron in her outfit tonight before they head out.
Oh, where are they going?
They must be going to dinner somewhere. I don't know.
That makes sense.
But yeah, she sent me a picture and she looks good. Looks very good. She's wearing a little crop top.
Okay.
With like a skirt and then a sash.
A sash.
And it's all white. She's wearing all white this weekend. Do you know that, John? Like all white.
I didn't know about because
well, when you're the bride, you wear all white at the bachelor.
Do you?
At party.
Bachelorette party, yeah.
Apparently. But that's the update I have. It's the only update I have.
Why don't you just do a full thread on Jon and Jim Twitter over the weekend? Just keep posting photos.
Yeah, because then when she finds out I did that, she probably won't like that.
Content, man.
She won't get mad at me. She'll just say, "Wait, what'd you do that for?"
Content.
Oh yeah, content. Here's my fiance, everybody, in a bathing suit with a tattoo of me on her chest. You never see that?
What?
You can get those stick-on tattoos.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm sure my face is somewhere there because I know Claire and Claire goes all out. So I'm sure I'm going to get pictures of a balloon that's my face or stickers that's my face or
follow us at Jon and Jim
with my face on it.
JONANDJIM. All right, let's get to this.
Do you drink coffee?
Chai. That's coffee, right?
No, it's tea.
Oh God.
No, chai latte.
Like a chai tea latte?
I don't know. Is that I thought it was coffee.
I'm pretty sure that's tea.
It's like it can be a coffee, but it's
Thank you.
kind of like a very bougie coffee. It's a John Schaefer
That's
coffee.
basically, yeah.
It's a
thank
John.
you.
It's a 100% John Schaefer coffee. I should not have been surprised by your answer at all.
Right. If I was at that Chiefs game, I'm drinking a chai latte.
Brent, do you drink coffee?
Sometimes I drink
Do you?
iced coffee.
I recently got into coffee a lot after I met Aaron.
I actually didn't drink coffee until I quit smoking. And then once
Okay.
I
That
quit
makes sense.
smoking,
Yeah.
I know I got rid of one $8 a pack habit for another $8
I think coffee's
better
drink
for you.
habit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
just a little though.
I'm pretty bougie too. I like the mochas, like
Okay.
the flavored mochas, like a vanilla mocha.
So you don't walk into Starbucks and order something that looked like a unicorn threw up in a cup.
I do not know.
Okay.
I do not.
Okay.
But this coffee shop in South Dakota
Mm-hmm.
is putting their twist on their own coffee flavor.
Okay.
Would you drink a burger flavored coffee?
No chance in hell.
But what if it contains no meat?
Still no chance, because that's a burger flavored drink in any capacity doesn't make any sense to me.
So
Would Impossible Burgers make sense?
No, that sounds terrible too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this coffee shop
Mm-hmm.
created a coffee drink that tastes like a burger, tastes like meat.
Why?
I don't know why. I think they said in this article here that they were joking around about, oh, what if we had a latte that tastes like a burger? And then they tried to make it and they succeeded.
Idea's gone bad.
This is a meat-free drink,
Okay,
so
yeah,
you don't have
that's
to
what Brett
worry
said.
about it. The flavors in it, like how they made this drink, was they added garlic, onion, and pickle juice
That's disgusting.
along with the coffee.
Yeah, no.
And they said that it tastes like a burger. There's no chance in hell
Yeah, is that a good thing?
I would want a burger latte.
Nope.
They lost me an onion.
Yeah, they lost me at burger.
They lost me at
All of it.
burger latte.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are just making crazy drinks out there. If you want to go to South Dakota and buy a burger latte, that's probably the only place in the world with that type of drink.
Gross.
Very gross. You know, I love to do these. Michael Jordan's jersey that he held up after he was drafted. It's a black and white photo.
Mm-hmm.
The
I know that
jersey,
photo.
yeah, the 23 Jordan jersey, all right, went on auction and recently sold. So this jersey is very rare. Like not even a game-worn jersey. This is his draft, not day jersey, but when he was announced by the Bulls, it was the jersey that he was holding in that picture.
$300K.
Brent?
I've been way over lately. I'll go $250K.
Did you say 300?
Mm-hmm.
John would win. $513,000.
Wow.
$500,000 for this jersey.
Wow. That's amazing.
Another auctioner bought it for $375,000 in 2021.
And then just moved it for 513.
Yep.
Wow.
Crazy.
That is crazy. Inflation.
Yeah, inflation. And finally, according to the New York Post, this is an exclusive, John.
Okay.
Brent, I know you're sitting for this one. Good. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce plan to get engaged this summer on their anniversary.
Come on. Really?
According to the back page, John, of the New York Post, page 6.
Engaged?
Yep.
That was quick.
According to sources inside of Taylor Swift's camp, Travis Kelce was planning on proposing to Taylor Swift this winter, but decided the couple to do it near their 1-year anniversary in July.
To propose.
To
Good. Then
propose.
maybe they'll normalize it and we won't have to show her after every pass and play.
Is he going to retire?
He claims he's not.
Right.
I give it like his career, probably like what's his contract though? That's the thing. He's under contract for a while. He has one of the highest paid deals for a tight end in history.
She's moving to Kansas City.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm saying if he plays for
Dude,
the
they have
Chiefs.
private jets. They don't need to have like a residency somewhere like permanently. They can go place to place whenever they want.
They have money?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. It's a little money.
Yeah, a little bit of
A
money.
little bit of money.
All right. For more on Aaron's bachelorette party, join us Tuesday, beginning at 3 p.m. after MLK Day.
In the chat on YouTube, the Beef,
Mm-hmm.
nice name, says Scottsdale for a bachelorette party. You're safe, Jimbo.
Yeah. We'll find out Tuesday
Yeah.
at 3 p.m. If you missed anything today, including
show
our
up.
conversation with Cynthia Freeland, you can find it at sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. If you're listening to us via a podcast, please leave a review as well. Follow us on social media at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. We're back tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Aztecs countdown to tip-off. San Diego State at New Mexico. Huge game in the Mountain West tomorrow at 11 a.m. For Bren and Jim, I'm Jon. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Okay.